All right, Hodge, can you hear me? Huh. This looks like it's live. All right, perfect. And a very good afternoon, everybody. This is meteorologist Gavin Sandell, currently off camera as I'm still just getting a couple of I's dotted and T's crossed. But we are starting just a quick live stream just to look at some potential for some severe weather across the area. Right now, just showing you an area-wide radar where we do have an active severe thunderstorm warning for a very small sliver of Trumbull County. But just in a couple of moments, I'm going to take you guys through the rest of what we're seeing. But just give me 2 seconds as I'm just dotting some I's, crossing some T's. But again, you are just looking live at our Storm Tracker radar. Welcome back to anybody who is currently watching our live stream on Facebook and YouTube. This is meteorologist Gavin Sandell, who is currently off camera right now, but I'm about to slide back into the picture just to take you through what we are seeing right now. We do have one active severe thunderstorm warning currently in effect for just a small sliver of Trumbull County, but the majority of that warning right now are going to be in effect for portions of Ashtabula County, some of Geauga County, and Lake County. Let's first show you what we're seeing right here. Let's actually go area-wide and see this just scattering, the garden variety of showers, thunderstorms, a pretty decent amount of lightning too in the places that are warned. But let me first zoom into the spot that you're seeing in Trumbull County. This severe thunderstorm warning, if I can get some of the information here, this is what the National Weather Service is saying. Gusts can get up to 60 miles an hour. There could be some sub-severe sized hail too, less than an inch in diameter, but still this complex of thunderstorms currently originating right about here, just east of the Cleveland area, starting to make its transit along the I-90 corridor. But that is what they are starting to warn, and that will be pushing off to the east. These are very slow-moving thunderstorms too. It took, as I was driving in here in the last couple of minutes, it's taken really a very long time for these storms right here. Let me highlight this. These storms to transmit through Portage County in the last probably hour or so. That's how long it's taken for just to move about 40 miles or 35 miles. So if you do end up getting caught up in one of these showers, one of these thunderstorms, this could bring us a good dosage of rain. We're expecting some pretty heavy downpours with this. So something that you do want to really consider while you're watching these cells is the downpour factor. We could have some isolated flooding, and I especially want to look to our south, at least in the next couple of minutes, in Columbiana County. Those places have been really dealing with a lot of rain. So let me go right now, look nationally and see what's happening, because the National Weather Service in the past, say, half hour or so, has put all of our area in a severe thunderstorm watch. Now, obviously, the difference between a watch and a warning is that a watch is basically just saying the ingredients are right. There could be severe thunderstorms that impact our area in the next so many hours. But a severe thunderstorm warning, which, for example, is what we're seeing in most of Ashtabula County, Lake County, portions of Trumbull County, that is where the National Weather Service does think that there could actually be the ingredients forming, and a severe thunderstorm is either in progress or imminent in the areas that are in that darker yellow warning. So for all 5 of our counties, while all of us are in a severe thunderstorm watch, that doesn't necessarily mean there are severe thunderstorms ongoing. That just is when there is a severe thunderstorm warning, as is the case for north and west of our viewing area, and including that very small sliver of Trumbull County. This watch, I believe, goes until about 9 in the evening, but the National Weather Service usually has a knack for trimming these guys once they think that the severe threat has come to a close. So there's a pretty high chance that these thunderstorms can be, or the severe thunderstorm watch will come to an end before that 9 o'clock time frame. Here's again what it looks like. There's really two waves to this weather. We do have the severe warned storm just east of the Cleveland area over here, set to push and graze Trumbull County. In the near term, I'm watching this guy right here, a heavy subset of showers, rain, and lightning too, moving into Trumbull County. Now, the National Weather Service, you won't be able to see it on our maps, but they have issued what's called a special weather statement with what you're seeing right here. And the special weather statement is kind of one step below a severe thunderstorm warning. Let me get some of the information about what they have here in this moving through Geauga, Portage, and Trumbull County. You can see wind gusts, they could get up to about 50 miles an hour. Hail, too, up to about half of an inch. And the reason why this is not a severe thunderstorm warning is because these storms just below the severe criteria. Let me pull up this graphic right here, and you'll be able to see if you have a severe thunderstorm, you're going to need 58 or greater mile-an-hour gust right here. Of course, with that storm moving into Trumbull County, the National Weather Service saying there could be about 50 mile-an-hour gusts, which denotes it only as a strong thunderstorm. In addition, that thunderstorm moving to Trumbull County, about half an inch of hail, which is still hail. That's a pretty strong thunderstorm. Those strong thunderstorms do make those, but we are currently only in a strong thunderstorm when we go through these areas. Looking even further in a broader picture of what we're seeing, now the Storm Prediction Center did upgrade our area from a level 1 to a level 2 severe weather risk, and the greatest risk with these going to be with some damaging winds, some hail as well. So this is kind of the area that we're broadly looking at as we go through the day today. Let's get one more look at our storm tracker radar right now. We've got that severe thunderstorm warning currently perched just in and mainly outside of our area in Trumbull County. Here's what it looks like right now. There is also a flash flood warning for some of Cuyahoga County, some of Lake County, as that strong thunderstorm starts to move towards the area. But locally, most of us are seeing some partly cloudy skies, and it seems pretty nice. But for those who are in western Trumbull County, central Trumbull, you guys are going to get a rude awakening pretty soon, as this bulk of rain showers and thunderstorms under that special weather statement right now is soon going to move in. So let me zoom in and take you through some of the towns that could be impacted. Newton Falls, of course, in the next few minutes. Probably those who are watching from there starting to see some showers right now. If you're in Warren, think maybe the next 15 to 20 minutes. Let me actually get the speed right here, and I'll play this out. So this cell that I had just circled previously is moving at about 30 miles an hour over to the east. So if I do this right here, the 30 mile an hour storm motion would bring the rain in Newton Falls, like I said, in the next few minutes. If you're in Champion, maybe about 10 or so minutes from now. Warren, think the next 15, 20 minutes. If you're heading even further down to the east, Cortland, expect this cell, these strong thunderstorms to move in about 2:30. If you're even further, Girard, which is kind of near Youngstown, 2:35, and then going all the way to Vienna, which is where the airport is, closer to about 2:40. So like we've been mentioning before, these thunderstorms moving rather slowly. So this cell is going to be something that we will be watching and we'll be taking a look at in case there's any bits of strengthening in the next hour or so. So I'll move this over, show you again what the radar looks like. That strong thunderstorm currently under a special weather statement. Again, the lower level, one step below a severe thunderstorm warning, starting to move into Trumbull County. Again, I want to take a look at what's happening to our north. It's these areas of showers, thunderstorms, and a good bit of lightning that the National Weather Service in Cleveland has warned, and just a sliver of Trumbull County is included in that warning. 2:45 is when it is set to expire, but of course we'll be watching that storm motion. Again, a very slow thunderstorm starting to move across. Let me zoom out here, get you another slice of the bigger picture here. A lot of the activity right now happening to our west, and that is because really showers and thunderstorms have really bubbled up too in the past few hours. We've become very warm, we've become very muggy since definitely 24 hours ago, but really in the last few hours. I'm going to play this radar back about 5 hours, see if our system's woken up then. But yeah, you can see, look at this. lots of the thunderstorms, because we have gotten very warm, we have gotten very humid. Really, those thunderstorms have started to bubble up over to our west, and then these two areas right over here. One starting to impact Trumbull County, and then there will be a batch right behind it too, starting to move into the Akron-Canton metro area, a little bit south of Cleveland. That severe thunderstorm warning too is associated with, let me just get this right here, the second round right here, moving on in and out of Cleveland. Let's just look at the velocity data. I'm not expecting anything too crazy right here, but let's just gather. I do see a little bit of an interesting wind development right here, starting to move into Trumbull County. Those greens and those reds, when those reds depicting those winds moving away from the radar source in Cleveland, roughly about where my arrow is going right here, and those greens, those winds moving towards, I'd like to see that be a little closer together to be what's called a couplet, an area of broad rotation, but not really showing too much. I'm not too worried about what I am seeing right now, but we'll just keep an eye on this, at least over the next few minutes. Apart from that, not really seeing too much in the area. Just that one little bit that is not really giving me too many worries or warnings, but we'll just keep an eye on that as we go through the next few minutes. Right now, again, the strong thunderstorm starting to move into Trumbull County. Also a little pocket of showers and thunderstorms moving into Mahoning County as I say hello to our weekend evening meteorologist, Rachel Lanham. Good afternoon. So right now, just for those of you and Rachel who are just joining us, what we're seeing right now, just kind of two waves of disorganized clusters of showers and thunderstorms. One area that we're seeing is we have a severe thunderstorm warning active just to our north, just carrying a sliver of that warning in Trumbull County. We'll see how this develops in the next 30, 45 minutes or so. But the main area that I'm watching over the next, the near term, is this cluster of thunderstorms moving into Trumbull County. Western Trumbull starting to see some good rain showers. And this has a special weather statement associated with that, one step below a severe thunderstorm warning. So apart from that, everybody else is dry. I mean, as I look live at our camera network, things look beautiful. In Boardman, Columbiana, Canfield Fairgrounds, all have partly cloudy skies, but it's those kind of skies, if you have sunlight, you're actually allowing to get warmth in the area. And warmth is one ingredient that we can have for some strong to severe thunderstorms. So something very important. In the near term, just those folks in western to central Trumbull County going to be seeing a good bit of lightning and thunderstorms in the next 10-15 minutes. Like I mentioned, Lordstown, Warren, Champion, probably going to start to see those impacts in the next 10-15 minutes. And this cell, as it's moving pretty slowly into the county, is probably going to be something we'll just have an eye on in the next 30 minutes to an hour, just to see how it develops, just to see how it moves through. Again, I want to show you, I mentioned briefly about just the partly to mostly sunny skies. Of course, where there's thunderstorms, you're going to be completely cloudy, a la Trumbull County and places west. But it's these areas here that are getting a lot of warmth, even with these thunderstorms are rolling in the next hour or so. If you're anywhere in Pennsylvania, you're getting that warmth, and you can actually see those clouds moving from south to north. You're getting that air from the south, which is warmer, which is moister. So we'll keep track on how this looks in the next couple of minutes. Again, just the only thing that is severe warned, actually not in our area, that is to our north in, I believe that is Cuyahoga County, starting to move into Geauga County. That severe thunderstorm warning happening for the next 35 minutes. But this bulk of showers, thunderstorms, which is bringing some heavier rain, going to be moving through Trumbull County. You can see the reds there. Let's check our hail product. I don't expect too much out of this. Of course, that special weather statement is showing about half-inch hail or so. The only hail core, which is going to start to enter Trumbull County along the I-80 corridor, and you can see those colors compared to our scale here, probably about half an inch or so. So not too much to worry about in terms of hail. Let's just go back to the velocity data again. just this cluster of red. That means some strong winds are expected. I'm going to pause this at the current time frame and just take a look at what these winds are saying. 35 miles an hour. Again, that's sub-severe. Yeah, maybe 20, 30. So you could probably see some pretty impressive gusts, although I'm not expecting anything too crazy. Rachel, if you want, I'm going to have you just post to social media, that kind of thing, just updating the folks about the showers and thunderstorms. Here's your forecast, by the way. All right. So in the near term, just in the last few minutes, let's show you what we've had. The National Weather Service did what they called, or what we call, trimming the warning. So if you had a keen eye, the warning extended a little bit further into Cuyahoga County, kind of like what I'm showing you right now. And what they just did was trim the warning because the severe threat, at least in the immediate term, is now out of the eastern suburbs of Cleveland. So they had just canceled that severe thunderstorm warning for portions of Cuyahoga County. But that severe thunderstorm warning still active for folks who are in Lake County, Geauga County, Ashtabula County, and then this little tiny sliver of Trumbull County. Mesopotamia, I know one of the towns off the cuff that's in that. Bloomfield too, in northern Trumbull County. But of course, those folks in those two towns are starting to see a little bit of rain. However, that's not part of the warned storm. That warned storm over to the west. Some impressive reds too, starting to move into Trumbull County. Champion, Warren, Lordstown, those are towns that I'm expecting the heaviest rain to impact us in the next 10-15 minutes or so. Again, this is not a severe thunderstorm. This is just what we call a strong thunderstorm, just underneath the severe weather levels. That's wind gusts of 58 plus miles an hour, hail of an inch. So we're seeing some pretty gusty winds, like I just showed you, maybe 30, 40 miles an hour. But that is sub-severe for right now. Just some strong thunderstorms that could maybe knock the leaves off of trees a little bit. But apart from that, again, another little cell starting to move into Mahoning County. This could probably impact on its northeasterly course. Maybe folks in North Jackson, Austintown, those communities. Looks like it has strengthened a little bit, so I'll keep an eye on that in the next few minutes. Columbiana County, you guys are dry right now. Weakening cell that was moving from Carroll County, but that is now just a little bit of some light rain showers. A good omen for those. But as I say that right now, a severe thunderstorm warning was just issued for much of central and northern Trumbull County. Really all of Trumbull County, pretty much north of the airport, does have that severe thunderstorm warning for the large coagulation of heavy rain, some thunderstorms. This is until about 3:15, so for the next hour, that's what we'll be tracking on our Storm Tracker radar. Let's just go back and see some of the information that the National Weather Service out in Cleveland has described about this storm, because according to them, remember, it was under a special weather statement, but now it has taken that step up into a severe thunderstorm warning. Here's the information that they described about this. We could be seeing 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Of course, when it comes to hail, probably not on their mind right now, but the gusts could certainly pack a punch in that Trumbull County storm. Again, you see these reds and greens not quite together, which is a good sign. That means that there isn't too much rotation. But of course, this is something that we'll be watching as it's kind of persisted for the last 20 or so minutes. But if I pause this right here, the reds and the greens, they indicate the velocity of rain moving to and from the radar. That's a good estimate of what the wind speeds are in this area. So at least according to here, I don't know if I can really query this under the warning. Let me see if I can get warnings out of here. Boot these guys off. Let's see what the velocity is here. So about 40 miles an hour. Maybe places near the ground you could see gusts 45. But in the case that this storm does strengthen in the next couple of minutes, we could be seeing those gusts up to 60 miles an hour. The National Weather Service in Cleveland, of course, thinking that this storm will do a little bit of damage in terms of the winds, a little bit above that severe criteria. Also, once this rain does move out of Trumbull County, You guys are not out of the woods just yet, because we do have another area of showers, thunderstorms that has kind of lined up just a little bit to the west, starting to move through the Akron area. That little bit just east of Cleveland was where the original severe thunderstorm warning is, and still in effect for those communities until about 2:45 or so. Let's go back to hail. Just check out what's been going on. Actually, that cell moving into Mahoning County just has a little bit of hail, maybe pea-sized hail, but heading into Trumbull County, that hail core starting to move into our viewing area. You could be seeing about half an inch of hail. And when we talk hail, just going to be on the teaching side a little bit for the next minute or so. When we talk hail, there's different objects that we describe them as. So if I say pea-sized hail, that roughly corresponds to about a 1/4 inch size of hail. Marble-sized is about half an inch or greater. And then we start getting into the coins, penny, nickel, quarter-sized hail. That's when you get above an inch in size, and actually quarter-sized hail too is when you get into the severe criteria, the severe component. So if we mention that an area is seeing quarter-sized hail, that means that they're officially seeing some severe level hail, just like an area that is seeing 58 plus mile an hour gusts are seeing severe level gusts. So let me just time this out again as it moves through Trumbull County. Let me just make sure it's moving east at 25 miles an hour now, this cell in Trumbull County. So let me just update where my position is. And let me time out here where this cell is going to be moving through and the timing. Again, this is going on an easterly course at 25 miles an hour. So those folks might be seeing some lighter rain showers right now in Warren, but in the next 10 minutes or so, that's when you're going to start to see the heaviest rain, especially some good thunder, maybe some small pea-sized hail associated with this. Champion in the next 5 minutes. East of Mosquito Creek Lake, if you're in Cortland, probably in the next 15-20 minutes or so. And then just outside of the Warning, Vienna, those places near the Youngstown-Warren Regional Airport, probably in the next 20 minutes or so. This is mainly moving east, maybe just slightly more north than east. But again, something we will be tracking as it moves through Trumbull County in the next hour to half hour. Again, just got my eye on this sneaky small cell starting to make landfall on Mahoning County, just by the border there of Mahoning and Portage County. Berlin Center starting to see some pretty impressive showers. If you're in Ellsworth, might see a couple of light showers, might sneak up to the north and west. But those folks in North Jackson, maybe some of Lordstown, I'd pay attention to this cell here, as it could produce some pretty impressive rain showers in the next few minutes. Anywhere roughly, let me make a line right here, anywhere roughly south and east of this line here is going to be rather dry. It's just this area of rain showers that I am looking at pretty steadily. Everywhere else southeast of this line does look pretty dry for at least the short term, unless something else starts to bubble up. I'll go back to the velocity data again. Just an impressive area here of greens and reds near each other. But again, you see that gray matter, kind of the neutrally moving air right around here. So I'm not in the immediate term concerned about any rotation here, but these reds too, velocity can tell you a lot about a thunderstorm. And these reds right here, let me boot this warning out again. This is starting to move at a pretty impressive clip, 36 mile an hour. The winds 46 miles an hour. So those folks who are in Southington right now, in the immediate term, maybe Champion. And then as this moves to the north and east, those folks in Cortland, I would expect some pretty strong wind gusts, 30, 40, maybe even 50 miles an hour. Could get close to severe levels, maybe 60 miles an hour in the near term. It's this bulk of wind that I am especially looking at right here. Let's go on to the south. Again, that sneaky cell moving into Mahoning County. Let's just query this and see where the winds are at. 17, 16. All right, so not too crazy. Maybe could be seeing wind gusts of 25, 30 miles an hour in the near term. But Let's again just take a look at the bigger picture right now. It's 2:21 on your Saturday afternoon. In the recent 5 minutes or so, we have had a severe thunderstorm warning just issued in Trumbull County. That goes until about 3:15 in the afternoon. We also have had this severe thunderstorm warning to our north in much of just a very small sliver of Trumbull County, but also Ashtabula County, some of Porter or Geauga County, Lake County. It was recently trimmed by the NWS in Cleveland, but the thunderstorms that are going to be right about here are going to be kind of a next wave or a next worry for those folks who are in Trumbull County. As we look to something that I haven't really mentioned in the last couple of minutes, but I mean, again, these yellows, these oranges, these reds, this means that some very heavy rain is falling, and the slow movement of the storm is causing this to be very impressive. I can see on my other computer here, thanks Rachel for pulling this up, some impressive rainfall rates of up to 3, 4, 5 inches per hour. And with the slow motion of this storm, just 25 miles an hour, I could expect some of these locations to get a quick half inch, maybe inch of rainfall as this moves over to the east-northeast. So would I expect maybe some quick flash flooding? No, but would it be a surprise? Probably not either, because this rain will be coming down very, very fast. Again, those folks who are in western Trumbull still seeing a good amount of lightning, heavy rain, maybe some gusty winds near the Champion area. But anybody who's in Cortland, anybody east of Mosquito Creek Lake should start to head indoors. If you haven't already, we are under a severe thunderstorm warning there. That rain probably going to set to impact us in the next 15-20 minutes. If you know anybody who is maybe fishing on the Causeway Bridge over there or on a boat, I would suggest letting them know, maybe giving a sense of urgency to have them bring their stuff back in, maybe bring them back to land, because those showers, those thunderstorms are going to impact the folks over there soon. And then we look east of Mosquito Creek Lake, a rather sparsely populated part of Trumbull County, but still populated nonetheless. Johnston, Fowler, Hartford, Kinsman, all communities that will be watching this at least in the next half hour or so. Also, folks in Warren, not seeing this strongest of thunderstorms. That's immediately to our north, but you guys, if you are watching from Warren, could be seeing some impressive rainfall rates at least in the next 5 to 10 minutes. 2:23 now on our Saturday afternoon. Let's go back to the hail. And this little sneaky cell starting to move into western Mahoning County, starting to bring down some impressive hail, probably about pea to marble sized hail. That's about quarter to half inch sized hail. And then moving in towards the warning, some sub-severe hail, but still some hail regardless. That is moving. This tends to be delayed just a little bit, probably around the Champion area now. Probably right about here, but that'll be moving just about east in the next few minutes. So probably not the kind of hail to damage anything. It is still rather small, but if you are, again, not in the area of rain right now, I would suggest bringing some loose articles in, maybe bringing those cars back in the garage, because hail is still hail, and it could pack a punch even though it is less than the severe threshold over there. I want to take another look right now on not the storms in Trumbull County, but up north into lots of Geauga County, Lake County, of these pretty impressive storms and the pretty impressive structure starting to move and getting set to impact our viewing area. Again, has been under a severe thunderstorm warning and will be for the next 20 minutes. And the National Weather Service has just trimmed, like I mentioned the last couple of minutes ago, trimmed that severe thunderstorm warning to now only include the places that are expected to see that rain. Everybody west of that severe thunderstorm warning box is not in an immediate threat, but that'll move over to the east-northeast on a rather quicker pace, probably about 40-45 miles an hour. Also, that cell moving into Mahoning County has certainly widened just a little bit, structure looking rather the same, but those folks who are going to be in western Mahoning County, think North Jackson, think the western suburbs or the western part of Austintown, maybe near the reservoir over there, and even going into Trumbull County, Lordstown, going down to Weathersfield Township, you guys will see the impact of this in the next maybe 15, 20, 30 minutes. Everybody else, apart from those in Trumbull County and Mahoning County, everybody else looks dry. Haven't mentioned anywhere in Pennsylvania just yet. Haven't mentioned, very littly mentioned, those folks in Columbiana County. Everybody there is dry for the time being. But while you guys are dry, you guys are also partly cloudy. Look at the folks in Pennsylvania still with these thunderstorms starting to get a little bit close. Some partly to mostly cloudy sky, or partly to mostly sunny skies right here. Even as we look at my transmitter camera here. We have our network of live cameras. It has gotten a little more cloudy in Youngstown as of right now. But still, I mean, those folks in Pennsylvania, if you have that sunshine, you're able to get a little bit warmer. And when the heat is there, then that adds to the ingredients of the thunderstorms. Let's show you what it looks like right now on our transmitter camera. It has gotten a lot grayer, of course. Not exactly sure which way we're looking here. I just brought us back to the westerly sky. This is roughly northwest. Kind of a good look at the thunderstorms there. Let's take you over to Niles. See what's going on over there. We'll snap it over to the western sky. Some kind of fragmented clouds over this way. Now you're looking mainly north and west. Just a dreary look. Nothing too crazy associated with that, or some scud clouds right now. We'll go back to the warning right now. We have 2 severe thunderstorm warnings active for our area. One in a good chunk of Trumbull County, one just a sliver of Trumbull County. That chunk of Trumbull, anywhere really north of Warren, starting to see some impressive rainfall rates, like I mentioned. If you're going to be in those reds and oranges for a while, if you're in Cortland, if you're in Bristol, if you're in Mecca. So you could maybe expect a quick half, 3/4, or an inch of rain in these next 20 minutes or so, because these are packing a punch with the rainfall. Also, that very small sliver of Trumbull County, Mesopotamia, Bloomfield, just the far northwestern corner of the county under that severe thunderstorm warning for this line that has started to move towards the area. Doesn't look like it's packing as much of a punch as it looked before, but we'll just keep an eye on that. As we move down into Mahoning County, this cell looking a little bit more impressive. Nothing tornadic expected, at least in the near term, but certainly with the presence, the size, and even the hail core, you could be seeing in a very small sliver of Mahoning County, probably some half-inch, maybe even 3/4 inch sized hail. So we'll be watching this guy rather quickly as it moves northeast through Mahoning County. Those folks in North Jackson, just the western edge of Austintown going up into Wethersfield, Niles. I'll just keep an eye on that in the next couple of minutes. And not seeing too much on our rotation tracks either. I just like to kind of do a speed run of all of our radar products over here. Correlation coefficient, definitely not going to show too much. Correlation coefficient, for those who don't know what that is, basically a radar product that says what is the uniformity of the things that the radar is picking up. And the way that it can tell how uniform those things are is those radar beams can tell what the size and the composition of the things that the beam hits and returns back to the radar. So if we see kind of a drop, if we see more like yellow, if we see more bluish colors, more yellows in a certain area over here, that would be conducive to maybe thinking of tornadoes on the ground. But obviously we are not at that level right now. Just some heavy rain, some impressive hail. And let's go back at the, let's go and take a look back at the velocity, because this is becoming just a little interesting. Certainly seeing that couplet right now in Trumbull County, those greens and reds coming together. So that is suggestive, certainly, of broad rotation right now. This could obviously mean a lot of things. However, we'll keep an eye on this in the next few minutes. No word, at least from the National Weather Service in Cleveland. Rachel, if you would, could you just message Cleveland about that, just to check in and see what their thoughts are on that? Because that is a pretty impressive look. Of course, in the last 10 minutes or so, you can see that gray really showing up around here, but that couplet now starting to form. As we look to, let's take this warning back out. Let's look at the winds. You're seeing those 50s, those 40s. So pretty impressive winds regardless, starting to move through Trumbull County. If there was any rotation, this would be rain wrapped, so it's not like there would be anything that you would be able to see in those areas. But this is just something that we'll be keeping tabs on in the next couple of minutes. Other than that, rain has looked to broaden a little bit in Mahoning County. You're seeing those folks near North Jackson, maybe places near Austintown starting to see some light to moderate rain. Let's again time out what we're seeing on the central Trumbull County severe thunderstorm warning.
I imagine people near Bristol are probably getting higher than 60-mile-an-hour gusts.
Yeah, it's very possible. Very, very possible. Let's go back to what the velocity data looks like. Because, yeah, that couplet right there. Again, a couplet meaning those reds and greens coming together on the Doppler wind product. An odd shape of what we're seeing here, so I'd be inclined to see what the National Weather Service has to say about that. But when you have reds and greens, these colors basically meaning anything that you see in red is winds moving away from the radar source over here. Greens are those winds moving towards the radar source, and you could infer that that wind, at least at the level that the radar is at, that wind is starting to rotate just a little bit. But we'll be looking at this, and it'll be interesting to see what comes from this in the next few minutes. Going back to our radar, just the bulk of rain showers. Anybody, even if you're not in the warning, moving on south to Newton Falls, those folks maybe in Lordstown, south side of Warren, seeing some pretty impressive rain showers from this. Could have accumulation rates at least of about 1, maybe 2 inches per hour. Has Cleveland said anything yet, Rachel?
No, not directly.
Okay. All right, so while they figure that out, again, another big picture look. Interests in Columbiana County should start to think about maybe heading inside if you're outside, because some rain showers are starting to fall in Carroll County, and that is moving roughly to the north and west around here. Those folks who have seen a lot of rain, too, in the last month or so, that is going to be moving towards the area. Also, just a light pocket of rain. Could be seeing some drizzles south of Lisbon, but there's been worse things in the world than that. But again, the two-pronged nature of these, again, if you're in Trumbull County, you're seeing one round of thunderstorms here, and then right behind it, as it moves out of the Akron-Canton area, a second round of thunderstorms. So after this severe weather threat does move through, those folks in the severe thunderstorm warning right now, I would expect a little bit more rain on the backside of what we are seeing. Going back to the warning again, the timing has not changed. From what we're seeing here, 3:15, still the expiration. That's about 40 minutes from now as it moves through a roughly central, if you're looking from left to right, roughly central Trumbull County. So those folks, again, in Champion, Bristol, Cortland, getting hammered with lots of rainfall. Anybody east of the Mosquito Creek Lake should head inside right now, as you could be seeing some strong gusts with this. The National Weather Service at least noting gusts of 60 miles an hour. As we go back to our velocity data, not much change, at least from... Not much change on this velocity, and it's this that I'm really taking a look at. These reds and greens, when they come together, of course, that signifies a little bit of rotation. Doesn't necessarily mean a tornado is ongoing, of course, but that could suggest lots of different things. But we'll keep some pretty impressive tabs. The National Weather Service in Cleveland, at least, noting that they're looking into the situation right now. As we speak, too, it looks like the National Weather Service has expired the severe thunderstorm warning. Hasn't done this yet on my graphic system here, but this warning that you're seeing, the one that we started the stream looking at, this warning right here has been expired or they are going to expire it at 245. So that means that they're going to get rid of that at the time that they say it is. They will not be expanding this further east, as the structure of those thunderstorms have been sort of lessening in the last 30 minutes or so. Going back to our hail core too, nothing too crazy coming out of it. Those folks just along the 224 corridor in far western Mahoning County could be seeing about half an inch or so in hail. That's that marble-sized hail, not triggering too much in terms of damage, but certainly making an impact. You'll certainly hear it if you're driving along 224 or other area roads or whatnot. As we look live at our radar yet again, the big area of rain starting to move through Trumbull County under the severe thunderstorm warning. Those folks in Cortland, places east of Mosquito Creek Lake, now starting to see some moderate to heavy rain. And I'm really noting the folks kind of in the northeast quadrant of this warning here. If I kind of separate this here, you could see the heaviest rain is really in the northern half at least. But then these folks here are going to see a pretty impressive amount of rain. So the National Weather Service has just continued the warning. Doesn't look like they are noting of anything tornadic as of right now, but they are reaffirming the warning, and they are continuing this as for it to expire at 3:15 this afternoon. They have trimmed the warning, like we mentioned in the last couple of minutes. Trimming the warning just means that those folks who were in the warning now aren't. So anybody who was in pretty much north of Newton Falls all the way to Mesopotamia in that western slice of Trumbull, there was some severe weather expected, but now once that has passed, they're not seeing too much of that at this current moment. Going back to the velocity data, let's see what's going on. This is a very impressive look. Now the greens not really showing too much in comparison to the reds here, but let's just stop this yet again and see what we're looking at least in case of winds. Because regardless, this is going to bring forth a very impressive scope of winds. Oh, shoot. Let me go back here. Of course, those folks in Trumbull County are going to be the... that is my main thing that I'm watching right now. Let's take these things off right here. Anybody in the pink could probably be seeing gusts of up to 50, 60 miles an hour. So if you...
Cleveland mentioned that it is still a good indication of 60-mile-an-hour winds in the north central part of it.
Okay. All right. So right now, National Weather Service in Cleveland, thank you, Rachel, just a very good indicator of those strong winds moving through. At least according to their eyes, nothing really more than that. So anything tornadic can kind of be put to the side right now. But again, that large area of red that you saw does mean that those folks in central Trumbull County should be watching out for those heavy gusts of 40, 50, maybe even 60 miles per hour. So as my graphics load right here, let's take another look at our severe thunderstorm warning starting to move through and roughly east to northeast through Trumbull County. I'll do yet again, I'll show you guys the timing of what this could be like. So it's moving east, roughly east-northeast at about 25 miles an hour. So let me take my tool out right here and show you where we could be going in the next few minutes. So go northeast, northeast. Anybody in Mercer County too, this you'll probably want to start taking note of this. But I'll get to you guys in just a little bit. Let's bring you guys... Excuse me, I'm going to try this one more time. So moving east. So again, like I said, not as much of a populated area of Trumbull County, but still, if you're in Gustavus, if you're in Kinsman, likely impacting us before the 3 o'clock hour, and then our sights are set into Mercer County, probably at the 3 o'clock hour, and maybe some portions of Crawford County just after the 3 o'clock hour. Orangeville, of course, right on the state line. This radar product has this bulk of rain showers starting to move in about 3 o'clock. But we'll be tracking this too. as this continues through the area. Once again, a look at the velocity data. It's a very impressive look of reds. Now, the green has really spread out, so I do think yet again that this could mean that we're not seeing too much rotational activity here, just that strong bit of winds moving through. Now, let's go back to kind of the bigger picture. What else are we seeing? Because we did have a cell in Mahoning County. Some very impressive. You can see the pinks starting to set up. Those folks in North Jackson getting a good downpour right now. Folks in Austintown as well. Starting to see a little bit of rain showers, but then this will start to head north, roughly northeast into Trumbull County. So folks in Lordstown, folks in Wethersfield Townships might want to keep an eye on this cell after the previous cells that have now been triggered for this severe thunderstorm warning has kind of missed those areas. Anybody in Columbiana County, I did mention previously of some showers, maybe some of that activity starting to move into the county. So we'll be looking at this in the next 15-20 minutes or so. But again, all eyes right now set on Trumbull County. The structure here certainly doesn't look as impressive as it did the last 10 or so minutes. You could see when we start this loop at about 2:30 or 2:12. Look at how kind of together this thing is right here. But then in the last 30 minutes, these two clusters have kind of broken up. There's a southern lobe starting to move rather northeastward, and then this northern lobe here on the right side. Let me just go back. This southern lobe here moving rather northeastwards, and then this eastern lobe kind of moving eastwards. That eastern lobe, the thing that we are really paying attention to in the near term. So this is going to continue to move through Trumbull County. The reason why we are under a severe thunderstorm warning, of course, the main severe thunderstorm warning was just expired, or is going to expire. The National Weather Service is going to let that kind of simmer down once it gets to its 2:45 p.m. timeline. So not as much activity as when we started this live stream, right at about 2 o'clock or so. But again, on the other side of this, you're seeing some pretty impressive thunderstorms moving through the Akron area. If I had my 2 cents on these thunderstorms, you have to always remember. You have to remember that these thunderstorms are getting into an environment now that was just cooled by rain. That's a lot more stable. So I do think, unless these thunderstorms kind of have a mind of their own, I think they're going to start to simmer down a little bit in size. But that's something that we'll be tracking over the next 30 minutes, 45 minutes, at least an hour. Also, the National Weather Service in Cleveland, I was talking earlier in my stream about what's called a special weather statement, kind of that step below a severe thunderstorm warning, and they just issued a special weather statement for this guy, not the warning that you just saw, however. This cell right over here into Mahoning County. Special weather statement, of course, just underneath those severe guidelines, but we could be seeing wind gusts of up to 40 miles an hour and hail of up to a half an inch. That special weather statement in effect for Austintown, our north side of Austintown, folks in Niles, folks in Wethersfield Township, and Girard. Of course, not severe criteria, but some strong thunderstorms expected to move through these areas. And just recently, as I was saying that, a severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for these cells moving to the north and east. Canton, some of the cities that you're seeing now under that rain shower, but just portions of far southwestern Mahoning County under that severe thunderstorm warning. Now, that has been extended all the way until about 3:30. So in the near term, or the future term, we'll be watching this as it progresses to the north and east. Also, recently, it is now 2:45, so the National Weather Service's expiring severe thunderstorm warning to our north has finally expired. But folks in the eastern suburbs of Cleveland are now under a flash flood warning for all of this rain that we're seeing. We've been talking about how heavy this rain is, regardless of if you're seeing hail, if you're seeing gusty winds, I mean, these reds and oranges coming together on the radar are indicative of precipitation rates that could be up to about 3-4 inches an hour. Thanks to Rachel, who is displaying some stats on the radar source next to me. You won't be able to see, but places near the Mecca area and even further down south to Cortland, those folks starting to see some very impressive rainfall rates. Even the cell, as you head into Mahoning County, that is going to kind of skirt near North Jackson, Austintown, they could be seeing rainfall rates of about 2-3 inches per hour, but that is a little faster moving, so that'll be kind of a quick in and out. So as we go about 2:46, we'll look more big picture. We have 2 active severe thunderstorm warnings for our area, one that is currently impacting Trumbull County. Folks north of Warren in the northeastern quadrant of the county, if you separated Trumbull County in about 4 pieces, the northeastern quadrant currently in a severe thunderstorm warning until about 3:15. We also have a special weather statement out for Mahoning County and Trumbull County for this cell that you see moving near North Jackson. North Jackson, those folks seeing very heavy rainfall rates right now. Could even be seeing hail of about 1/4 to an inch in size or in diameter. But also this one recently issued for our area a severe thunderstorm warning with some clusters of thunderstorms moving through the Canton area. But we'll be tracking this, not in our area right now. However, once we get to about the 3 o'clock hour, we'll see and we'll kind of re-diagnose these storms as they get closer to Mahoning County, and could even potentially, we'll see maybe by the 4 o'clock hour, making a closer swipe towards the Youngstown area. I want to go back to the velocity data too and show you what's going on in Trumbull County. Of course, now this could be something that could be a little more easily diagnosed. Look at this kind of bowing of the reds here on the velocity. This likely means that there's just a pretty strong area of straight line wind gusts, and these reds here and the pinks are starting to subside just a little bit, so at least the strongest of winds moving through Mecca, moving through Johnston, and then that's going to progress to the north and east. These are at the current moment starting to weaken. As we say this too, a new severe thunderstorm warning has just been issued to our west. So this second area of rain showers are really starting to beef up, at least according to what the National Weather Service in Cleveland does say. 3:30 p.m. is that expiration, and much of Portage County and the western half, roughly, of Trumbull County. This line starting to move through the I-80 corridor, Shalersville, Ravenna, This is something just like the one to its south that we will be tracking more closely in the next half hour or so. But I'm going to get the details of this and kind of give you a location by location timing that we could be seeing. We'll start from the north as this severe thunderstorm moving roughly 25 miles an hour or so to the east. So let's get a good band and look at this. And if it's moving roughly north and east, again, you can see my cursor only at the edge of Trumbull County, but we still got about an hour to go. So again, lots of folks in Portage County going to be in the immediate term of these thunderstorms. This is going to start to move through probably by the 3 o'clock hour. Nelson, Windham, once we get to the top of the 3 o'clock hour. But then those folks in Trumbull County, Newton Falls, 3:22, that's one place we have timed. Champion, Warren, closer to the 3:30, the bottom of the 3 o'clock hour. And then heading on into Niles, if you're in the Eastwood Mall complex, could be reaching you guys closer to the tail end of the 3 o'clock hour. Let's also look at this cell over to our south and give you a kind of a timing look at what we're seeing. Now this thunderstorm moving a little more northerly. This is moving to the north and east at 30 miles an hour. So we'll just get a good look at this. And then, of course, just like the last severe thunderstorm warning, lots of Stark County going to be in the immediate term of what we're seeing. However, those folks, I mean, you start to see towns you recognize closer to the bottom of the 3 o'clock hour. Palmyra, Berlin Center near 3:30, Craig Beach in western Mahoning County by about 3:30. So these two severe thunderstorm warnings we will be watching, especially once we get closer to the bottom of the 3 o'clock hour, it's just the immediate term what we're seeing, this active severe thunderstorm warning in Trumbull County, which I will admit has lost a little bit of steam, at least according to the radar. But still some pretty impressive winds probably in some places like Mecca. Bristol saw some pretty impressive winds in the last 15-20 minutes or so. But on that front, we're not seeing too much else in the area. Of course, lots of our Pennsylvania counties. I know it's not. I don't not like you guys, but I just haven't mentioned you guys in Mercer or Lawrence counties because you just aren't seeing any activity just yet. However, once we get closer to the bottom of the 3 o'clock hour, maybe the top of the 4 o'clock hour, that's when things might start to get a little bit hairy for you guys. So I'll get the warnings out of here, make things a little bit clearer right now. Just another look at our storm tracker radar. Thankfully, not too much activity on the back half of these storms, just some pop-up showers, and that would make sense too because, again, remember, when rain falls, that temperature also falls, and so the environment behind these thunderstorms is a lot more stable, a lot less conducive for thunderstorm formation. So once these storms near the Akron-Canton area, the ones that were just warned by the National Weather Service, once these pass, I think, again, things can change, but it looks like the immediate severe threat is going to pretty markedly decrease. But we'll go back to our warning right now. The active one right now in Trumbull County, 3:15 p.m. That's about 20 minutes from now, the expiration there. But then we also have our 2 warnings off to the west in Portage County, and then clipping Trumbull County by the bottom of the 3 o'clock hour. And then this one, too, in Stark County, namely impacting the Canton area, finally moving out of there, and then roughly following U.S. Route 62 north and east. And then just clipping a little bit of Mahoning County. Interest in Trumbull County could be seeing some rain showers, too, if this structure at least holds in the next couple of hours. Even folks in Mercer County, I know I haven't been mentioning you, but I would watch this cell as it moves through Trumbull County in the next couple of minutes. It does look to be at least either stagnating or diminishing in size, but we'll be watching this closely as it moves into Pennsylvania. Obviously, the National Weather Service in Pittsburgh, they're going to be the determiners of whether they want to issue a severe thunderstorm warning, maybe a special weather statement, or something of the likes. I want to give you guys another update, too, of this cell that is under a special weather statement in Mahoning County. Interest in North Jackson right now, getting pummeled by rainfall, but the bulk of the rain starting to move into Trumbull County, our southernmost townships there, Lordstown, Weathersfield, folks in Niles, too, the city of Niles. Probably going to be seeing some heavy rain in the next 10 minutes or so. Folks on the west side of Austintown, people roughly west of Route 11, that large highway going north to south, they're seeing some moderate rain. Those folks maybe near Austintown High School or the west side of Youngstown, seeing some heavier rain, or some lighter rain. Nothing too crazy at the moment, but we'll track how this goes to the north and east in the next few minutes. But they're, of course, under a special weather statement, not a severe thunderstorm warning, not these severe levels. We do have a couple of hail cores, too, that we're watching. Nothing too severe levels, at least. However, folks, likely in North Jackson as of right now, seeing some pea to marble-sized hail. That's quarter to half-inch size hail. People in some of Trumbull County, too. Again, that severe thunderstorm warning is still dropping some decent-sized hail, some pea-sized hail, some marble-sized hail at the moment as we approach the 3 o'clock hour. And there are some more scattered hail cores on these severe thunderstorm warnings on the western flank thunderstorms that we will be watching. I want to take just a brief moment to shamelessly plug our social medias to follow us for consistent updates. Right now, myself and meteorologist Rachel Lanham are currently in the Weather Center tracking and posting to social media what's going on. My social media is down on the bottom of your screen at Gavin Sandell WX. On Facebook, my social media is meteorologist Gavin Sandell. Please give me a follow because I'll give you consistent updates. Rachel Lanham, her social medias are weekend meteorologist Rachel Lanham. Of course, our chief meteorologist. Don't know what he's doing right now, but I'm sure he is zeroed in on this severe weather threat. His Facebook and other social medias can be followed at Chief Meteorologist Eric Wilhelm. We also have meteorologist Andrew DiPaolo you can follow on social media, and our newest weather forecaster, Kellen On Air, Kelin On Air. She did a magnificent job this morning when predicting the severe weather. So right now, again, thank you, by the way, for checking us out live on YouTube. We're live on Facebook right now with these 3 active severe thunderstorm warnings as we approach the top of the 3 o'clock hour. Really a cluster of showers and thunderstorms in Trumbull County, again, the northeastern quadrant of the county. Kinsman, Hartford, likely the areas that are going to be seeing some heavy rain soon, and then interests in Mercer County should probably start to head inside and really get their storm tracker radars up in the next few minutes as this bulk of rain showers starting to move through. At least in terms of structure with this, not seeing a crazy amount. Again, in the last 30 minutes, this is what it looked like when we were a little bit concerned, at least. These reds and greens coming together. But in the last 30 minutes, look at how that's kind of staved off just a little bit. So the winds here probably not as strong as they were in the last 30 minutes, but still they could pack a little bit of a punch, maybe 30 to 40 mile an hour gusts in this time. So we'll see what the National Weather Service in Pittsburgh ends up doing, as it is going to be their responsibility to warn or make statements on weather in Mercer County and the rest of our Pennsylvania viewing area counties. Probably pretty impressive gusts here in the warning over to our west. Of course, not in our viewing area, but folks in Portage County. Let me get rid of my warnings right here and show you what these winds can be around. Anywhere between about 30 miles an hour. This new scan just coming in showing a velocity here of about 50 miles an hour. So there could be some impressive winds, at least at the level of the radar out in Portage County. So that we'll take a look at in the next few minutes. And then we also had the cell moving out of the Canton area that I'll take a look at. Just a sliver of Mahoning County in the warning here. Now, let me go back here. This is roughly where the cell was when it was warned by the National Weather Service, but it has since kind of come together with more cells and formed more of a linear look. You can see that line as compared to some cells. So we'll keep track of that too. Let's also look at hail. We'll start in the immediate term in Trumbull County, where things really have looked to kind of weaken there. I'm not as impressed with any of the hail or velocity or even the rainfall out there. So seems like just heavy rain out there with some sub-severe capabilities right now. There is a hail core in the Portage County warned storm of about quarter to half inch hail over there, roughly around the I-80 corridor. So listen, if you're heading along the Ohio Turnpike in the next 30 minutes, if you are a driver, if you're going to go on a trip to Cleveland in the next hour or so, and you're leaving from Youngstown, I would certainly take it slow at least, but I would certainly maybe suggest against driving, because there are some very strong and potent thunderstorms moving around I-80 in Portage County right now, even along I-76. Once that turns into the non-tolled portion in Mahoning County, excuse me there, just some pretty impressive rainfall there. So if you are heading from Youngstown in the next few minutes, west on I-80, west on I-76, I would advise against driving, but if you absolutely have to, I would take it real slow and pull over at a moment's notice, because we could have some very heavy rain there. Speaking of rainfall rates, thank you to Rachel on my left side here. We have the radar source that you can't see on the screen. Some precipitation rates still impressive, at least in Trumbull County, with these reds and oranges of 3-4 inches per hour, especially that core north of Warren. You can see the reds and the purples here near Venice Heights, just south of Cortland, and south of Mosquito Creek Lake of about 4 inches per hour over there. So right now, the main threat that we are watching is starting to weaken just a little bit into Trumbull County. Again, that cell that triggered a special weather statement out in Mahoning County, also getting a little bit more broad as it moves into Trumbull County. But hey, if you're in Austintown right now, you're getting soaked by some showers, especially the west side of Austintown, west of Route 11 there. Also interesting to note, something that I haven't really brought up too much. Let me go back over here. Let me zoom out here because I'm going to go to a new product and show you some of the watches, warnings, and advisories we have around the area. We have a flood advisory posted for Trumbull and flood watches posted for Trumbull and Mahoning counties with all of this rain that we're seeing. Remember, we've been talking about these heavy rainfall rates. Even if you might be seeing rain for 30 minutes or so, these peak rainfall rates could be 3, 4, maybe even 5 inches per hour. So I could take a look right now at our neighborhood net, our network of tempest weather flow weather stations, and get a real-time check of what the rainfall rates have been around the area, or what the accumulated precipitation is, because I'm sure there's a decent amount. Let's let this graphic play out over here. Excuse me. As I move this camera up here, yeah, some folks in Trumbull County. Look at this, Champion Heights, Warren Burton Road, at or above 2/3 of an inch, even though you guys only saw rain for what, 20, 30 minutes? So it'll be very interesting to see in the next half hour or so how much these stations over here go up. These are delayed by roughly maybe 5 minutes or so. Even this stray cell moving through Mahoning County. Look at this one. This little guy over here. Looks like maybe in the southwestern corner of Austintown over here. Almost a half an inch from just that little cell that moved through in the last 10 minutes or so. So, again, the National Weather Service does warn from storms when they do their severe thunderstorm warnings. They warn for wind, they warn for hail, but there is also a very heavy rain component, too, that we'll have to worry about. But, of course, Trumbull County, Mercer County, those folks actually do need rain. Some of us there a little bit below average for the month of August. Let's go back to the visible satellite too. I haven't been mentioning those folks in Mercer County or Lawrence County too much, but while all of us in Ohio, and especially Trumbull and Mahoning counties, are seeing some pretty strong to severe thunderstorms, those folks in Mercer and Lawrence counties still under a partly cloudy sky. It's basically a vacation day right there for them. But what that means is you're still heating up. Your temperatures are still getting into the 80s, and that means the ingredients are still being cooked. You know, it's like a stew. You're just cooking it up, and it's just the more time that it's able to cook up, maybe the more impressive some of the thunderstorm structure can be in those areas. So especially if you're east of Interstate 79 in Mercer County and then out and around 79 in Lawrence County, you're still seeing some nice skies. You might be thinking, what the heck are those people in Ohio looking at right now? All right, let's take one more look at Storm Tracker radar as we have 3 active severe thunderstorm warnings. That one in Trumbull County going to expire at 3:15. Just that disorganized cluster of rain and thunderstorms moving through northeastern Trumbull County. All that stuff not quite there yet to our west, but we do still have the warnings right now in Portage County and over towards Stark County for this real line of showers and thunderstorms that has developed to be pretty impressive. But that will soon be moving into the area once we get in the next 30 minutes or so. So something we will really be watching. These severe thunderstorm warnings expiring at 3:30 in the afternoon, but it'll be interesting to see if the National Weather Service out in Cleveland does eventually make a decision on that, whether they maybe want to expand that, let that expire, and something that I do not think is on the table right now, just canceling that outright right now, because these thunderstorms are showing a pretty good look. And two, with the winds. The winds have been the main concern for a lot of us. As you can see, the reds in Portage County, this probably does indicate gusts of up to 40, maybe 50 miles an hour as that is getting close to Trumbull County. And then this southern warning right here, the reds and the greens coming a little bit close to each other out in Stark County. That's close to Mahoning County. You can see the border Let me draw the border for you guys roughly along this line right here. And it does look like we have another severe thunderstorm warning. Oh, no, not another one. Excuse me. This one was just trimmed by the National Weather Service, continuing everything with the expiration still at 5:30 as that starts to get its sight seen on Mahoning County. So a lot. It's like an artist just painted lots of different things on the map right now. We got 3 severe thunderstorm warnings. The main bulk of activity as of right now has been centered on Trumbull County, but you're starting to see some activity down to the west and southwest in Mahoning County. I did mention just a little bit about Columbiana County. Any of those just disorganized showers, thunderstorms, not really making too much of an impact there, which is a good sign because those folks in southwestern Columbiana County and further south have seen a boatload of rain in the last 3 weeks or so. But still, people in Mercer County, people in Lawrence County, you're not seeing anything just yet, but I am not going to rule you out at the moment for any severe weather. Rachel, I'm curious, have we gotten any pictures, anything sent to us in the last 30 minutes? Not that I've seen. Okay. Just if you do see any damage, for those folks who are watching us right now, if you do see any damage or there is any flooding, we would love to see some pictures sent to us. Let me get that up right now. But of course, do that at a very safe distance. Once all those storms are out of our area, if you do want to send any weather pictures, you want to make sure to send them to us at weatherpics@wfmj.com. That's the place you'll want to send them to. Of course, if there is flooding, if there is wind damage, do it at a very safe time. But if there is something that you want to report to us, we'll get into the National Weather Service too. weatherpics@wfmj.com. Thanks preemptively to anybody who does send that to us. Hopefully we don't see any, which would mean there's no damage around the area. But if there is, please make sure to send that to us. We'll get another live look at our storm tracker radar. We are 7 minutes away from this warning expiring as it moves through far, far eastern Trumbull County. Those folks in Mercer County now going to start to be under the gun for some moderate to heavy rain showers, and then still that impressive area of lightning starting to move towards the area. So it'll be up to the National Weather Service in Pittsburgh to see what they do. This guy's starting to move roughly north and east this way. So if they do issue a warning, those folks in Pittsburgh, I could see maybe the northern sliver of Trumbull County, Mercer County, excuse me. But I'm not expecting too much from this area, as this has seemed to weaken quite a bit. You can see these winds over here. Was very impressive. We did have 50 to 60 mile an hour winds as outlined by the pinks over here. But a lot of these reds, this area of enhanced winds that are moving away from the radar source in Cleveland, that has started to dissipate. We do have these 2 severe thunderstorm warnings here. Some straight line winds likely pretty strong in Portage County as that starts to set its sights on in Trumbull County. But to the south, this area here, the severe thunderstorm warning that was just clipped off in Stark County. That's also, you guys are seeing winds of probably about 30, 40 miles an hour. So winds that you can't scoff at, certainly enough to take the leaves off of the trees. Let's go right back to our radar right now. Let's see if there's any rotational tracks. Anything that we've seen recently has been pretty weak. Go back to hail, and then everything else here, pretty subsevere. Again, Trumbull County, I don't think that there's going to be too much from this. Maybe just some small hail, and just a little bit of hail being reported, starting to move through the Austintown area, moving out of North Jackson. So, again, probably about pea-sized or marble-sized hail at best. Hail is not the biggest factor in these thunderstorms as of right now, but it'll just be these winds, because we are seeing a very impressive plume of winds, and I'll query this too, in Portage County and Stark County. Let me get rid of the watches and warnings here. Again, these thunderstorms will be what is going to be moving towards our neck of the woods in the next 20 or so minutes. So you can see 37, 38, 31. So winds probably near 40 miles an hour. Not severe enough you could say, but certainly stuff that can knock some leaves off of the trees. All right, 3:11 right now on your Saturday afternoon. So this cell that we have been watching over the last 30 minutes, starting to move into Trumbull County, has picked up a pretty impressive reflectivity look. You could see those pinks, even the whites, aren't very common unless there is either very heavy rain or some impressive hail. More likely than not, maybe some hail that has started to beef up in size a little bit, if not just some heavy rain. Also, the heaviest of rain starting to move into southwestern Mahoning and then a little bit of Trumbull County. You can see Newton Falls getting in their second round of rain over here. These two, let's go back to about an hour ago. This is what I was paying attention to, because look, if we go to an hour ago here, you could see two rather independent cells here, but in the last hour or so, these guys have merged. Can't really see too well because of the lightning, but you know, when we have merging storms like that, it could really kind of throw off the structure of it. In certain cases, like what we had on July 5th, we had two merging cells move through, and that was actually what really kind of beefed the merged one up, and caused the macro burst over there. But that is more rare. But something, again, we will be keen on in the next couple of minutes. Lots of the heaviest rain starting to kind of enter stage left on our viewing area. Get rid of the warnings here just to make things a little bit easier to see. So that rain starting to move out of northeastern Trumbull County, and then portions of Mercer County, but also Crawford County. Starting to see some heavier rain out of this. Still, the rain rates here are going to be very impressive. Again, this little teeny tiny cell, the cell that could in North Mahoning County, starting to enter the Mineral Ridge area. Those folks in Girard, maybe a sliver of Hubbard, Liberty townships, could be seeing some heavy rain in just a little bit. Maybe some hail out of this. Maybe some marble-sized hail. Now, it looks like we just got a severe thunderstorm warning. As we... Gotcha. Yeah, so now we have 4 active severe thunderstorm warnings. This newest one, there's a way that I can kind of get rid of the noise here. That would be great, but Mahoning, Portage, and Trumbull, you could see the cities here, the towns, most important here, Austintown, Niles, Warren, and Wethersfield. It looks like this just is going to be a continuation of these thunderstorms because of the late expiration. But even though those folks in Austintown, Niles, Warren, Wethersfield aren't seeing too much right now, obviously the main area of concern is 20, 30 miles over to our west. You still do have this cell that we have to pay careful attention on, which still has a special weather statement associated with that. But this newest severe thunderstorm warning has just been issued, moving to the north and east. So if you're watching us live on WFMJ on channel 21, we do have 4 live severe thunderstorm warnings, all including our viewing area. Now, the one that we're probably going to say goodbye to in the next few minutes is this one, all the way, the one that we first had, that expires in just 1 minute. So we'll see what the National Weather Service in Pittsburgh has to say about that. Pittsburgh National Weather Service 2 commenting on the structure of this cell in Mahoning County and Trumbull County. They're posing that there could be a pretty heavy wind and hail threat, especially with the pinks and the whites here. You know, high reflectivity, you can only have such heavy rain, and with these very light colors, we could be seeing some impressive hail. Let's go back to the hail, which usually is delayed just a little bit. But here we go. All right, so this is something that we could be watching and maybe could be reporting soon. Again, this is a couple minutes delayed, but those folks in the west side of Austintown and then probably starting to move into the Mineral Ridge, Weathersfield, Girard area. Those oranges are 1 inch or greater in size. So that is severe criteria hail, at least. Maybe some quarter-sized hail or even ping pong-sized hail. Ping pong ball-sized hail. That's 1.5 inches. As we go and continue, we are now at 3:16. The National Weather Service has canceled, or has let the warning in Trumbull County expired. Some of Mercer County starting to see some rain showers now. Now we're down from 4 to 3 severe thunderstorm warnings. Lots of northern Mahoning County and Trumbull County starting to see the fruits of the labor of these severe thunderstorm warnings that have been brewing over to our west. Portage County has been getting douses of rainfall, this second round of rain showers. So finally starting to enter places that we were talking about at the start of the stream. Newton Falls, Craig Beach, Southington. Those areas, again, a round 2 of showers and thunderstorms, and that is covered under the severe thunderstorm warning. Even on to our south and west, just in portions of Stark County, just the sliver of Stark County, portions of Portage County, that is finally starting to move up to our north and east into Mahoning County. And it was that newest warning that is posed from these storms that we're talking about right now. In terms of winds, we are seeing a decent bit of stronger winds in entering Trumbull County. So these brighter reds probably suggesting about 40 to 50 mile an hour winds. Anytime you get to about pink, that's when things start to get on that severe level. Even moving into Stark County and Portage County, that's when things are going to start to get probably about 40 miles an hour. So I'll just go right back to the radar. Very active picture as has gotten in the last few minutes. Even some non-severe thunderstorms starting to move into Columbiana County. New Franklin, right on the border there. Alliance, yet again, right on the border. This could be something that we'll be talking about in the next few minutes. Also some lighter rain showers in far southern Columbiana County. But it's really Trumbull County that has had the brunt of all of this severe weather. Something that we haven't really been able to say as in the last few weeks, but we had that first round of showers and thunderstorms. Let me go back to 2 hours before, just to show you what's been going on. This was the first round and the first severe thunderstorm warning that we did have. And then it had a pretty impressive wind signature in central Trumbull County, right at about where my screen is right now, about 2:30 near Bristol. And then as that is moving out, we have a second round, which is currently, yet again, starting to impact western Trumbull. But really, the line is going through a lot of our viewing area. Mahoning County, going on down south into Columbiana County. But the severe warned storms are currently in Trumbull and Mahoning County. The National Weather Service in Cleveland has their hands very busy right now. But in addition to all of what we're seeing, we've had that small straggler cell. I'm highlighting it right now, north of Mineral Ridge. Those folks traveling along 422, either north towards Warren or south towards Youngstown, could be seeing some very impressive hail in the next couple of minutes. Let's go back to what the hail core, hail signature says. Any oranges that you see, this does represent hail above 1 inch. That's above the size of a quarter. That is severe hail. So, like I mentioned before, this does happen to be delayed by a couple of minutes, but in the next few minutes, that will roughly be moving north along the Route 422 corridor, probably packing a pretty impressive wind punch as well. Let me just get my my bearings back down, make sure that the National Weather Service hasn't issued anything else in the last few minutes. Thanks to everybody who's watching us, by the way. These thunderstorms really have just bubbled across much of the area. Trumbull County seeing the most activity out of everybody. Position this further off to the east here. Trumbull County has seen those 2 rounds of thunderstorms. The first one moving out right now into Mercer and Crawford counties and has become subsevere. That is not warned anymore. But it's a line, this second line of storms that I'm going to highlight right here, has really become pretty impressive. Starting to move into Trumbull, Mahoning, and even less so, but still the line is moving into Columbiana County. Another look, quick look, at this little cell moving along just into Trumbull County right now along the Route 422 corridor. Again, those pinks are the things that you might want to pay attention to if you don't like hail, because that usually represents we do have a bit of a hail core. The radar beam getting into that hail core does return a lot more back than just rain. So those pinks and even whites that you see does represent some hail moving through the area. I'll go right back here, and a very impressive look. If you're on I-80 in the last couple of minutes, moving along the construction near Austintown, it has been very impressive. Those deeper oranges, representative of an inch and a half sized hail, that is moving north along the path roughly where my marker is, my arrow is going to be. So if you are traveling along Route 422 in the Girard area or Niles, I would pay attention to this cell, and really in the next few minutes try and bring anything you can inside, because once we get above an inch in hail, then things start to become severe, things start to become damaging, because that core of ice does become very heavy when it falls all the way from the sky at nearly 100 miles per hour. Also, the heavy rain, that's a big headline. Moving into Trumbull County, moving into Mahoning County, we're seeing rainfall rates of up to 5 inches per hour in Newton Falls area. That is all the oranges and reds that you see here. I want to take a look back at our Tempest, our neighborhood net, our network of Tempest weather flow weather stations, because yet again we were looking before at all of the stations with this round one of showers. Some places in western Trumbull County getting nearly 3/4 of an inch, and even higher. Champion Heights, almost 9/10 of an inch of rain. And then even folks west of Youngstown seeing nearly a 1/2 inch of rain. Folks in Portage County too, I think these are the numbers that could be a little more realistic by the time we end off this live stream. Look at this, lots of areas above an inch of rain in just those 2 quick hits of rain showers. So rainfall is going to be something that we'll be tracking. Mahoning and Trumbull counties right now under a flood watch. Could be seeing some isolated flash flooding. As we go back to our storm tracker radar, no new severe thunderstorm warnings in the last 10 minutes or so, but all of these are still existing. 3:30 p.m. is when our 2 in the west expire, and I do think that this will be something we will see, probably the one at 4:15, probably superseding these both, as these cells have merged as of recent. But lots of lightning too. If you're in some of Mahoning County, western Mahoning, you're probably seeing a crazy amount of lightning. Let's go back to our Tempest network, our network of weather flow, Tempest weather stations, because we also do have a place where we could see some lightning too. In the last 3 hours, look at how much lightning we've seen. These reports out of Trumbull County, nearly 4,000 strikes of lightning across Trumbull County, even further south into Mahoning County. I believe this is Canton. Yeah, this is Canton. Excuse me. This is Trumbull County right here. We've had nearly 4,000 strikes of lightning in the last 3 hours. Even in Mahoning County, 3,000 strikes of lightning. So anybody in the severe thunderstorm warnings currently should head inside, as we have multiple active threats of wet weather with showers, thunderstorms, damaging wind threats, and some heavy rain. Back on our storm tracker radar right now as we approach 3:25 on our Saturday afternoon. We started this live stream about an hour, maybe an hour and a half ago at this point, but this line right here, let me make this just a little bit easier to see. This line right here has really blossomed as it moves into Trumbull, Mahoning counties. Also some non-severe showers and thunderstorms being reported in western Columbiana County. So this line right here has really started to get a lot of structure over here in the time being. Still have an active wind threat, damaging wind threat, but it's also this cell in Mahoning County that has provided some severe hail. As you can see, this white area right now representing a good amount of hail starting to move. We were talking about the I-80 corridor near Austintown. If you're traveling Route 422 near Girard, or if you live near there, I would certainly station yourselves inside as this moves to the north and east, even heading up towards Vienna, as we could be seeing some very impressive hail in the next few minutes. Let's go back to the hail over here, the hail size and the hail tracker. No more oranges in the last few minutes, as you can see, as this is trended up to the north. Just a blip of orange. The orange is here representing an inch or greater in hail, that exceeding severe criteria, but as that has moved up into Trumbull County, losing its severe criteria, at least in the radar estimated. We also do have a core of hail starting to move into Trumbull County, or Mahoning County, excuse me. Those folks on the far western reaches, Craig Beach, Lake Milton, even maybe North Jackson, those interests probably should expect some subsevere hail moving in through this line of thunderstorms in the next few minutes. I'm also paying attention to probably an impressive hail area moving through the Akron area. And Rachel, let me ask you, we just got somebody sent us an image of hail. I want to see if, let me know if that's impressive enough, and if it is, oh, it's a video, okay. If it's impressive enough, I'd have you bring that into max so I could show some of the viewers over here. Now let's see. Large amount of hail. If you could estimate the size of that hail, do you have a? Okay. Smaller than a quarter, so some subsevere hail, and that's in Mineral Ridge, right? Okay. Mineral Ridge. Okay, so yeah. Oh yeah, let's take a look at that right now. Rachel claiming that there's some hail, certainly heavy rain on the Niles camera. I positioned that further down.
There's definitely hail on that camera.
Okay.
See it bouncing off.
Yeah, let's show you guys what we're seeing right now. It's from that small little cell, and yeah, there it is right there, some hail. Very impressive look. Probably subsevere at the moment. Let's see if I can even pitch this down to the platform that this is on. Can I go any further? I can't. If it's not hail, it's certainly heavy rain, but it looks like hail on our Niles camera. This is along Route 422 in Trumbull County. Yeah, even seeing the tread marks there, the little whites, that could be hail, little small pellets of hail. As we keep going through our camera network too, let's show you what Youngstown looks like. Very dreary. Pretty impressive structure from those clouds right now. Youngstown at the moment looks dry. At the current moment too, it is 3:29, so we're 1 minute away from these two severe thunderstorm warnings to our west and just barely getting into our area to expire. So these right here, it looks like the warning to the east was created by the National Weather Service to kind of impose these cells coming together. So looks like these warnings right here, the one in Portage County, the one in a decent amount of counties, Stark, Portage, and Mahoning, those two off to the west will likely be canceled, and we'll just have that one sole warning off to a good deal of our area. Some of Youngstown, bits of and there it is right there. Yeah, those two warnings just canceled. And we have this sole warning for a slice of western Mahoning County and then our southern half of Trumbull, which does include not only this line of rain and thunderstorms moving through, but this, what we call a discrete cell moving through. Kind of a cell that is on its own wavelength and time, beating to its own drum, moving through Trumbull County. That is the cause for some of the hail that we saw on our storm tracker cameras, or our cameras right there. As we get to 3:30 now. Elsewhere in the area, I don't want to talk too much about what we're having now, but we have some moderate to heavy rain from that long ago expired warning starting to move into Mercer County. So Jamestown, right in Crawford County there, Greenville, starting to see some impressive yellows, some oranges over there. Lawrence County for the moment is still dry mostly. Some of us still seeing some partly cloudy skies, especially near the Elwood City area, but you guys are still under the gun for some severe weather potentially in the next few hours. But this, remember, we were talking about these 2 waves of disorganized showers and thunderstorms. That second wave has since really started to show its structure and become a line moving through and getting into our viewing area as it stands right now. So from Trumbull to Mahoning to Columbiana, we are starting to see some severe thunderstorm warnings. And in the last few minutes, the National Weather Service has continued this warning right here. They are reaffirming this warning going until 4:15 p.m. for a good chunk of a populated area in Mahoning County. So Austintown, the northwest side of Youngstown, as we get into Trumbull County, Girard, Lordstown, Warren. Let's time this line as it moves through, because I want to detail some of the impacts that we have over here. This is going to be moving through at 40 miles per hour, roughly to the east. So let's time this out here. I'll get my stuff over here. Excuse me, that was a little preemptive. Let's go right back here, go back to the squall. If this is moving northeast at 40 miles per hour. So you can see those areas that are going to be under the gun pretty soon. Austintown likely going to see their heaviest bout of rain in probably the next 10 minutes or so. Canfield too, right along that southerly course. Even folks in Youngstown too. Heaviest rain from that line probably going to impact us in the next 20 minutes. And then these areas could be impacted that we haven't really been talking about. Mercer County, Lawrence, and Lawrence County, once we get to about the 4 o'clock hour. So this severe weather threat is still ongoing as we go to the bottom of the 3 o'clock hour from this line of showers and thunderstorms. Of course, just one sole warning. We had 4 at its highest, but we're down to 1 as 2 isolated cells have combined and have formed this pretty meaty line of rain and thunderstorms in much of Mahoning, much of Trumbull counties, and I am specifically eyeing this cell, which is looks to be merging a little bit with the overall structure in near the Vienna area, near Niles, but the main line starting to move through. One thing I haven't looked at as of recent is the velocity data, roughly just what the wind speeds are as they move through the area, and these reds and these greens. Let me just detail what this means again, because velocity can be a little bit confusing for those who might not be too in tune with the weather. But velocity is basically just a measure of how fast the wind is moving or the rain is moving relative to the radar source. So what you're looking at now is the velocity from the Cleveland radar source. Anything you see in red is rain moving away from the radar. So there's 2 spots right here, one near Warren and one a little further south and west that is moving away. So that basically means that there is a core of rain moving away at a pretty fast speed. And let me tell you how fast these winds are moving. Of course, this severe thunderstorm is being warned for winds of a little bit above near 60 miles per hour. So let me show you, especially north of Warren here, 47, another 47, 44, near 50 miles an hour, which is pretty impressive. And then even further to the south, let's see what this is. This is the core near North Jackson, starting to move near the Weathersfield Township line. As I query this is probably about 40, 45 miles per hour. As we once again look back at our storm tracker radar, we do have our severe thunderstorm warning still active until 4:15 this afternoon. This cell that has been a big hail threat for especially those in Austintown and maybe heading into far southern Trumbull County is starting to lose its structure just a little bit. But you can notice the expansion of this rain starting to get a little bit into Mercer County, so those folks in Sharon, Hermitage, West Middlesex, just on the cusp of the Ohio state line, could be seeing some heavier rain, some strong thunderstorms as we move later on into the next few minutes. But it's this line that I've really been paying attention to, starting to move into Trumbull, Mahoning, and some weaker thunderstorms into Columbiana County. Thankfully, I mean, we've been talking over the last week or so, Columbiana County has been the bullseye in our local area, really roughly around where I'm circling, as part of a larger flash flood headline through southern Ohio, Indiana. These guys have seen some flash floods in the last few weeks, so thankfully they're not seeing too much of these severe thunderstorms, but this doesn't take away from the severity of what we're seeing right now. Some moderate to heavy rain in 2 waves too, moving through Trumbull County. Warren starting to get a good deal of rain in this isolated cell too, adding up to the totals through Austintown, through Mineral Ridge, Girard, Vienna, and that will move over to the north and east, even towards Hartford, and then as it moves on into Mercer and Crawford counties. This is the only thing that we're worried about right now. If we look over to our west, this is what I want to focus on here, because, of course, we have all this weather going on right now, but, of course, we want to know what's going to happen next. I'll draw out this specific area that I'm in tune with over here. We're just seeing some scattered thunderstorms, pop-up showers, not to the degree that we have right now, but certainly worth watching. But I think that our severe weather threat is going to be very much diminished after this line of showers, thunderstorms makes the trek around our Ohio counties and then our Pennsylvania counties later on in the 4 o'clock hour. Severe thunderstorm warning still active for the areas that have been in the last few minutes. 4:15 is our expiration. And let's go into the rainfall. I think the rainfall is going to become a very important thing in the next few minutes, in the next few hours too. Okay, thank you for that, Rachel. Rachel mentioning we do have a flood advisory for Mahoning and Trumbull counties that was issued by the National Weather Service out in Cleveland. And you can see these rainfall rates, the heavy rains, those oranges and yellows and reds you saw on the radar corresponding to rainfall rates that could go up to 4, even 5 inches. Look at this. Near I-76, near the North Jackson area, almost 6 inches per hour. Of course, are we going to get that heavy precip for that long? Absolutely not. But if that happens for just 10 minutes, you're already talking about an inch of rainfall in that area, in that hot spot right there. So that's why we're so worried. Of course, we're not going to get that much rain in an hour, but it's just the slow-moving nature of these storms that could give us a good deal of rain. Like Rachel mentioned, I want to show you guys some of the flood watches and advisories that we have. And of course, Rachel, if you have anything else to say, just let me know. Anything else pertinent about what's happening right now. But let's take a live look at our flash flood alerts. Nothing locally, but if we look at the flood alerts, kind of more of the big picture, we do have the flood watches and advisories out for Trumbull and Mahoning County. Lots of areas in the National Weather Service Cleveland domain. Rachel, if you could answer that, please. Severe thunderstorm warning still active for Mahoning, Trumbull County. 4:15 p.m. is its expiration, so we still have about 35 minutes until this cell will finally move out of the area. However, some soaking rain showers for the Lordstown area, some soaking rain for the Warren area, and even that stray cell that we've been looking at has decreased in size and brute force, but still providing a good first bit of rainfall for the Vienna area, for Brookfield, and that will eventually be moving into Mercer County. So it'll be something that we'll be tracking too. As we look at our neighborhood net again, I want to bring this back up and show you what we have, because some impressive rainfall rates there.
Much sunlight that Lawrence has specifically been getting. It may just pick up again once it reaches that area. However,
yeah, look at some of these stations out in Trumbull County. Champion Heights, West Broad Street, over an inch, and we've only had these little spurts of rainfall. So something very impressive, and it'll be interesting to see if we get any reports of maybe some flash flooding from these areas. Of course, out of our entire viewing area, not, these guys have seen less rainfall than average, but still, this much rainfall in a short amount of time can still cause some flash flooding for anybody, regardless of situation. So, those in western Trumbull County seeing a lot of rainfall, and even the folks near Austintown and North Jackson heading closer to the Lake Milton area, they've seen even half an inch of rain. We'll wait for these contours, these colors to upgrade or update, but still, even near the Youngstown area, even north and west of it, we're seeing rainfall reports of nearly 3/4 of an inch. Soggy at best. As we look live again at our storm tracker radar, we still do have that severe thunderstorm warning. 4:15 p.m. is its expiration, and it's that line of showers and thunderstorms. In terms of the structure, really the only hotspot right now is going to be in northern Mahoning and the southern half of Trumbull. Everywhere else is it's not really showing too much of an impressive look. We were talking about some weaker thunderstorms in Columbiana County, and that has really kind of just devolved into some lighter rain showers. If you head on north into northern Trumbull, again, it's these areas that saw a good soaking of rainfall, and so I think as a result, maybe some of the structure here could be degrading just a little bit. Another look at our velocity data here in Trumbull County. Again, the winds relative to the radar source in Cleveland. If you see red, that means winds are moving roughly away from the radar. If you see greens, they're moving roughly towards the radar. So if I stop this now, I'll query yet again some of these winds that you're seeing. Cortland, Champion, Warren, Lordstown, Mineral Ridge, probably seeing some sub-severe gusts of up to 30, 40 miles an hour. There's a 43 mile an hour gust. As we get a fresh new scan in too, anywhere near 30, 40, maybe even up to 50 miles an hour. So these guys are packing a punch, probably enough to get some leaves off of the trees, get some branches off of the trees. Let's check out the hail core again. This is something we haven't looked at as of recent. Not showing too impressive looks. Remember, the last 30 minutes, we did see some hail of up to, if not greater than, an inch in Trumbull County or Mahoning County. Those oranges here, right as across the state line. But then as I crossed that construction on I-80, just like all of us, it was like, I don't really like that. So that seems to have dissipated just a little bit. But still, the hail size less than about 3/4 of an inch. The National Weather Service, too, they did trim their severe thunderstorm warning. As I go back to the radar here. Go back to the radar. I'm going to get a little sip of water. If you could, Rachel, is there anything else that the National Weather Service is noting in the areas? Maybe something potential or something that you just have on your mind?
Mahoning County, one of the emergency managers noted that there is some flooding on Route 80 and Route 46.
Okay, yeah, so that's basically really where the hail core was at its strongest, that cell that moved through. You can see it here. Let's go back to this without the warnings here. If we go roughly where, and Rachel mentioned that Mahoning County Emergency Manager noting flooding along Interstate 80 and Route 46. This is going to be where it is right about here. If I circle this. And this is kind of the hotspot of where that stray cell was. And it's not really going to be much better. Here's what it looks like right around here. That stray cell moved through, and then in the last couple of minutes, they're still seeing some very heavy rain. So if there is some flooding there, I don't expect it to be much. I don't expect it to improve in the next couple of minutes, as we still do have some impressively heavy rain that is getting into the area. Again, it's those areas that had that cell move through that were kind of unlucky, because that first bout of rain it doesn't mean that it's over. There's just a whole nother cell starting to move, or a whole nother line starting to move finally into our area. Let's get another check at places in the line right now, starting to move through about central Trumbull County. Those folks who are far west in our viewing area. Southington, Newton Falls, maybe near the Lake Milton area. If I get rid of the lightning here, you could see a little bit better. They're starting to see some lighter rain, maybe a couple of cells on the backside. Cleveland did trim this warning just a little bit because those areas along here are not in an immediate severe weather threat anymore, but you are still seeing a little bit of that tapering rainfall. Anything off to the east is still currently in that severe thunderstorm warning. You guys are still seeing some impressive rainfall totals, maybe 3, 4, 5 inches per hour, causing some flooding, like what Rachel said, along Interstate 80, Route 46, that exit in Austintown happening right now. But we have had some people send in some photos to us too. If you are a viewer who is just tuning in, I would express to you, and I would hope, to please submit some photos, especially if you are in a safe place or if the conditions are safe outside. Weatherpics@wfmj.com is the place to do it. If there was flooding nearby, if you did have some hail near your area, please send them in as we can bring that back out to the National Weather Service, and even Rachel can feature them live at 21 News at 6 or 11 tonight. Please be sure, meteorologist Rachel Lanham will be live tonight on 21 News at 6 and 11. Keep up with her forecast as we keep going diagnosing this severe weather threat, though thankfully it does seem to be dissipating just a little bit. As we look live too, I just want to take one more moment to kind of shamelessly plug our social medias. Make sure to follow our Storm Tracker 21 page on Instagram, on Twitter or X, on Facebook. If you're watching us, give us a follow on our YouTube Live on WFMJ. Please do that. I'm live right now. Gavin Sandell WX is what you see down at the bottom of your screen. That is my username on Instagram, on YouTube, on X or Twitter, and on Facebook. My username is meteorologist Gavin Sandell. I, like the rest of the Storm Tracker team, provide these timely updates. I was able to come in on my off day today and share you guys the latest. So if you do like what you're seeing, please make sure to give us a follow. Give Rachel, who is working behind everybody, or working in the back right now, follow her, weekend meteorologist Rachel Lanham, on Facebook and other social medias. Also our chief meteorologist, Eric Wilhelm, our noon and 5 p.m. meteorologist, Andrew DiPaolo, and Kellen Fliss, our newest weather anchor who does weekend mornings. Gave us a splendid forecast on what we should expect today, and she'll be live on a much less unsettled day tomorrow, though we could be seeing some showers for Panerathon tomorrow. So it seems to have gotten just like a big glob of heavy rain for the warned area. If you remember, in the last 30 minutes, we did have that isolated cell. We call this a discrete cell, as it kind of beats to its own drums. But in the last few minutes, it has sort of merged with the line moving through Trumbull County. So it's kind of more of a coagulation of moderate, heavy rain and those thunderstorms too. Some rainfall too, sub-severe in Mercer County. If you're in Greenville, if you're anywhere east of that too, Sandy Creek starting to see some lighter rain showers. Sharon, Hermitage, north of West Middlesex, that isolated cell has kind of lobed out just a little bit. You can see kind of branched out on the right side there. That has provided some moderate to heavy rain. As we're live in our downtown Youngstown studio too, we are just barely in the warning. Our building is just outside the warning, just by a block or two. But regardless, we're starting to hear some rain too come down in the roof. But anybody in the warning, like Austintown, Mineral Ridge, places in Niles, heading on north to Howland, those places seeing very heavy rainfall rates. And let me show you what that rate is right now. Those yellows indicative of maybe 2, 3, 4 inches per hour. I just queried near Lordstown, that's about 4 inches per hour. Near Cortland, about 3 inches per hour. And again, these places aren't going to see that rate for an hour. But if you're getting 4 inches per hour, it only takes 15 minutes to get an inch of rainfall. So that's the kind of thing that we're a little bit worried about, because an inch of rainfall, that's about as much rain as we get in a week. So these rain showers could be causing some flooding, as meteorologist Rachel Lanham behind me did describe, around Austintown, along Interstate 80 and Route 46. And if you guys have any other reports, let me look at the comments and see what you guys have been reporting to me. And if you don't have anything,
one thing I will note is
Okay.
Mahoning County and Columbiana County are limited, and
Okay.
I have yet to look over at our Pennsylvania counties.
Okay, yeah, thanks for that report, Rachel. She's mentioning Trumbull County does have over 700 folks with power out right now. She's gonna let me know when you get your Pennsylvania county squared away.
Sure, and Lawrence do not have any yet.
Okay. So it seems like just folks in Trumbull County getting some power outages right now. 700 at the moment. We're not exactly sure at this current time where those outages are centered along, but if you have your power outage, report that to us too in the chat.
There's someone who has said that they have no power in Niles. So
Niles.
Niles and where that discrete cell,
Okay.
I think along that path may be where the majority of power outages have been.
Okay. If you weren't able to hear her, Rachel saying that we did have a viewer report that their power was out in Niles. That's where that strong, discrete, or lonesome cell was moving through, where we had that heavy hail core. You could see the rainfall too. Niles is basically on an island. Look at that, 1 inch. And just to the north of Niles, just about a third of an inch as well. Thanks everybody for your reports too. Just some localized reports. Yeah, no power in Niles. Thank you, Megan. Everybody else, thanks for your wind in Salem, torrential rain by Meander Creek Reservoir, rain in Sharon. If you have any flooding reports too, let me know. Let us know in the comments. Let us know if there's any. Let us know if there's any flooding. Let us know if there's any hail that goes on. We did have somebody ask if this was going to be the only severe weather threat during the day today. What I can say right now, this is going to be the most pronounced severe weather threat, and we'll look off to our west, and I'll give you that answer. We'll let this storm tracker radar load. Of course, the biggest chunk of rain currently in Trumbull County, some of northern Mahoning County. It's pouring right now at our downtown Youngstown station. But this, with its thunder, soon going to move out into the northeast, impacting Mercer County in the short term. But the thing that's pretty good and is kind of lessening the chances of rain in the afternoon is that everybody right now is getting rain. Look at Columbiana County. Not severe by any means, but just some light rain falling across most of the county. That rain acts to lower those temperatures and heat, warmth. That is one of the big influences and one of the big ways that we get some severe weather. So if you're cooler, your air is more stable and then less capable of producing any severe weather. Immediately off to our west, this is where we look to see what's coming our way. Where could there be some severe weather? We are seeing some isolated cells popping up, but again, the coverage of these is going to be much, much less so than the folks and then what we're seeing right now. And with this rain-cooled air, let's look at our temperatures. Let's see what we're seeing right now. I'll have to take a moment to pull this up, but I'm almost certain that our temperatures locally are going to be a little bit less than the folks off to our west. Here's what our temperature map looks like, and you can see at the Youngstown Warren Regional Airport, we are just at 65 degrees, and I'm sure that has gone down from whatever the high temperature was. Akron was at 69. Where those discrete cells are popping up, Mansfield, one of the places where we saw that, 80 degrees, so 15 degrees warmer. At this point, I think our severe weather threat is going to be much, much subdued. Let me go back to the Niles camera, because I did see something very cool, very interesting in the last few seconds as I kind of peered off to my left side. If we have somebody in the right turning lane, you'll be able to see the ponding water. There it is, right there. Thank you to that car. Yeah, that car is not a paid actor. I can trust me on that. But you could see, even as it turns on to that road, lots of the ponding water. It's coming down at a very, very heavy clip and moving through the area. It's probably the area that we're seeing most of our activity at the current moment. You're looking live right now at Route 422 in Niles. But just nothing crazy, but just some very heavy rain causing some ponding water on the streets. Here's what it looks like in Youngstown too. As we look at our cameras, I'm the morning guy, so this is our Groover Roofing and Siding weather cameras, but lots of rain right now. Visibility is way reduced, and then that temperature too. We were sitting in the 80s today. Rachel, if you could tell me what the high temperature at the airport was today, let me know, because our temperature right now in Youngstown, 69 degrees, and that is much departed from what we had earlier. The temperature
Earlier, or at least our 6-hour maximum, was 81.
Okay, so our high temperature at the airport today was 81 degrees, at least the unverified high temperature. It's 65, so the rain actually cooled down the air by 16 degrees. Do I think we're going to get anywhere near 81 degrees the rest of the day? Probably not. And so for that reason, because we are much cooler, our air is much more stable, I think our severe weather threat is going to be much, much more subdued in the afternoon comparatively to some areas to our west that is already starting to see some more of that activity. But we are at 356 in our area right now. Still have this lone severe thunderstorm warning in northern Mahoning County, stretching from roughly Canfield to Austintown, Mineral Ridge, Weathersfield, some of Vienna, Warren, Cortland, and that goes all the way to the Pennsylvania state line north of Hubbard. This is in effect for the next 20 minutes. If this does expire, I will likely end this stream, but we're going to keep going as long as there are severe thunderstorm warnings in the area. Elsewhere, like I mentioned just a couple of minutes before, we do have some light rainfall in Columbiana County. Let's look live at our Tempest, our neighborhood net, or network of Tempest weather flow weather stations. And you could see these temperatures. If there was an area that'll probably be a little bit warmer, I could see that probably being Columbiana County. Look at this gradient too. This will be very interesting to see. 60s in Trumbull County, where there hasn't been much rain. Mercer County sitting in the upper 70s right now. And then even this impressive gradient in Mahoning County. If you're in Austintown right now, it is 65 degrees. Even the west side of Austintown, or the west side of Youngstown, 65 degrees. If you're in Youngstown, this number's probably not updated, but even in Camel, Struthers, you're almost at 80 degrees. So it's that you could tell the rain is able to cool the air, and it's these areas that are still in the 60s that are likely not going to have much severe weather for the rest of the day. All right, let's rapid fire quickly, go back to our radar, and just show you and detail you the highest impacting areas. Oh, wow. That's very cool. And so, you said that was in Salem, right?
Yes.
So, our meteorologist Rachel Lanham mentioning that there was a photograph of a lightning bolt in Salem that one of our viewers got. Thank you for doing that. Hopefully you're in a safe place while doing that. But these thunderstorms, they are chock full of lightning. Lots of that reported. But as we take a live look at our storm tracker radar, because this has really started to move through a much more stable air mass with these temperatures down in the 70s, that first wave of rain really cooled the air, so it's becoming a lot more disorganized. The place where we're starting to see some stronger thunderstorms is where the rain hasn't fallen yet, in Mercer County, Greenville, north of Mercer, Sharon, Hermitage. Those places starting to see the bulkier of the rain showers with some decent lightning as well. Anywhere else in Mahoning County, if you're in Boardman, you're starting to see your first rain showers of the day. Poland, Camel, Struthers, anybody else really hasn't gotten too much. Those folks south of Western Reserve Road, New Springfield, near New Middletown, they're just starting to see a couple of rain showers right now. Off to our west, there's a couple more rain showers, not severe by any means, but just a couple of light to moderate rain showers that are going to, yet again, give us some more rain in Trumbull County. Heidi, thank you so much, by the way, for sending that. weatherpics@wfmj.com. You spelled it correctly. If you have any photos to send to us, please do that. weatherpics@wfmj.com. You'll be able to send that on email. And our meteorologist, Rachel Lanham, right now, she is getting some things ready for our 6 and 11 newscast that maybe I could show off on this live stream right now. So as we go to about 4 o'clock, the National Weather Service has still, once again, trimmed this severe thunderstorm warning in Trumbull County. So now only slivers of Austintown, places like Hubbard, Girard, Vienna, Cortland, They're in the severe thunderstorm warning, but this has, I feel like, lost its character a little bit because we've had a lot of the rain-cooled air has really cooled this thing down just a little bit. If we go to the velocity, I haven't checked this out in a hot minute. Still some impressive winds. This is why that severe thunderstorm warning is still standing. Winds are the biggest threat for this. And if I query, I'm going to query just northeast of Churchill, where that pink area is. And you can see the winds there near 50 miles an hour, right around where this X is. Even further to the north, east of Cortland, I have that at about 40 miles an hour, right about here. So some still pretty decent winds. Winds that are good enough to maybe knock that trash can down if you have those trash bins out on a Saturday afternoon. Maybe knock some branches down. So I think that'll be very possible. But it's really this guy. We'll see what the National Weather Service... Rachel, if you could bring that computer over to just Pittsburgh Slack, I'd like to see what they have to say for just a moment. Can I see that mesoscale discussion? All right, thank you. So one thing we'll have to keep tracking, because those temperatures are still pretty high, anywhere where the rain hasn't fallen yet, because remember, that rain right around here right now has encountered a zone of cooler air, but anywhere east of this, it is still near 80 degrees. So I think it is very possible that these storms kind of regenerate off to the east. We could maybe see some downstream severe thunderstorm warnings, maybe extreme eastern Mercer County further off into Venango County, Butler County. It is very possible that is just a prediction right now because those places haven't seen rain just yet. But these storms certainly have taken a hit a little bit. Rain starting to be seen in Mercer County, Sharon, Mercer, Greenville, South Pymatooning, Fredonia, getting a good deal of moderate to heavy rain. Even Lawrence County, congratulations, I finally mentioned you guys, some of that rainfall from the Youngstown area finally starting to move into far northwestern Lawrence, and even a couple of straggler cells finally coming in from Beaver County and Columbiana County. Speaking of Columbiana County, you guys, this is probably the best case scenario for you guys if you don't want severe weather. It is just some light rain showers for most of us anywhere south of Salem or Columbiana down on through the rest of the county. That looks pretty good for you guys. So it's just right now those folks in Trumbull County that are seeing the most, and this is the kind of scenes that we are seeing. Thank you, Michael in Salem, for showing us this photo. Lightning, and we have seen quite a bit, not just from Salem, but all the way through Mahoning County, through Trumbull County. One of the great things we have on our neighborhood net, our network of Tempest Weather Flow weather stations, is a cool feature to show off lightning in the last 3 hours. You're looking on Portage County right now. Not the most important, that's not in our viewing area, but Trumbull County, if you're in Trumbull County, these stations have picked up, especially to the west, over 5,000 lightning bolts. That is unbelievable. Over to the south, not as much, of course. That's where the storms haven't had as much coverage, but still near Lake Milton. Look at this, Lake Milton KOA, Campgrounds of America, seeing almost 6,000 lightning bolts in the past 3 hours. Realistically, 2 hours. Some stations near our downtown Youngstown studios picking up almost 4,000 strikes of lightning. So if you didn't realize there was some tricky weather on the way, you certainly did, hearing and seeing the lightning strikes across the way. Let's go back to Youngstown right now. You'll see the radar for just a bit, but I changed my mind. I want to go back to Youngstown, and this is the kind of rain that we are getting to know. Some heavy rain, visibility is way reduced, and our temperature is still subdued in the 60s. Remember, our high temperature for most of us was in the low 80s. Right now it's 69. That rainfall acting to cool a lot of the area. So Youngstown is just barely hanging on in part of the territory for the severe thunderstorm warning that the National Weather Service has in Mahoning County and Trumbull County. Kind of the next steps of what we could see is whether the National Weather Service in Pittsburgh will continue this warning. Remember, if you're a viewer in Trumbull or Mahoning counties, your area is dictated by the National Weather Service in Cleveland. If you're in Columbiana County, in Lawrence County, in Mercer County, your area is dictated by the National Weather Service in Pittsburgh. So when we have an area like this, or when we have a division like this, the severe thunderstorm warning right along the state line, that's not because they think the severe weather threat is over. That's because the NWS in Cleveland actually cannot warn further than that. That's when you get into Pennsylvania. So once we get to about 4:15, we'll see what the Pittsburgh office has in terms of rumblings. Yeah, it really is subdued. I showed you guys it just a couple of minutes ago, but it's the heavy rain is really dropping those visibilities, and I'm looking off camera right now, but there was some pretty good lightning too in the area. I'm sure if you look outside, even our Boardman camera I'm looking at, I won't be able to show you that now, but that's the visibility is certainly down right now. But we have about 9 minutes until the severe thunderstorm warning gets canceled, or this expires in Mahoning and Trumbull counties. Of course, for the time being, if you're in Hubbard, Hartford, Vienna, even some of Girard or Youngstown, if you're not inside, I would get inside it right now. And you know what? The National Weather Service in Pittsburgh, they did kind of steal my thunder just now, because they did issue a severe thunderstorm warning downstream of what we were talking about. So, of course, once we get from Trumbull and Mahoning counties to Mercer County, then this becomes an NWS Pittsburgh issue. And so then they're able to issue warnings anywhere in Mercer, in Lawrence, and further on east. So they were able to determine that the criteria was going to be issued enough, so they issued a severe thunderstorm warning in Mercer County. This goes until 4:45. That's in about 40 minutes from now. So what are they warning for? 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and small hail, sub-severe hail. Speaking of wind gusts, let's take a look at what we're seeing with these wind gusts, these bright reds and these pinks. These are kind of what are the biggest concerns right now. Let me get rid of the watches and the warnings and query this. Excuse me. Hit the wrong button there. If I get rid of the watches and warnings and query this, I'm going to first query around Sharon. Make sure I'm not on a road. 54 miles an hour. Right about where my X is right here. If I go even further west towards Brookfield, that area, 50 miles an hour. So remember, severe thunderstorm wind gusts, that threshold is 58 miles per hour. So I think it's very possible, especially because thunderstorms have not happened in Mercer County yet. Those temperatures are still in the 70s and 80s. So I think it is very possible that we could see some regenerative action from these thunderstorms. Because remember, if we go all the way back to the 3 o'clock hour, where these thunderstorms are right now, right about here, this was rain-cooled air. We have temperatures here in the 60s and 70s because of a first wave. But since these thunderstorms have moved towards the area, they've gotten a little less beefy. And they've shown not as much. But this whole area that I'm circling is untapped warmth. So this, if I did have if I did have a dog in the fight, I would say that there is a chance that these thunderstorms could start to kind of make a little bit more sense, kind of get a little bit more reorganization. And the National Weather Service in Pittsburgh does concur with me, as they did issue a severe thunderstorm warning for pretty much all of Mercer. Just a small bit of northern Mercer not included in this. This goes until 4:45. There's some of the big cities in here: Farrell, Grove City, Hermitage, and Sharon. This is going east at 40 miles an hour. Let me put this going out at 40 miles an hour and show you what we have. So some of the areas, including Lackawanna, 4:15. That's in about the next 5 minutes. You could be seeing some heavy rain there. and it could likely cross about the I-79 corridor probably by about 4:30 or so, depending on where you are on the highway. So if you are soon to go on a drive on I-79, if you're maybe leaving from Grove City, or if you're leaving from Sandy Lake, want to go south, north, maybe east or west on I-80 in Mercer County, this is not going to be the time where it's going to be the best weather. I would suggest maybe delaying your trip, or if you're currently actively driving, I would, in the next few minutes, pull over, because probably by about 4:30 or so, all of this rainfall is going to be soon into this area along the I-79 corridor near Grove City. But in the meantime, we do have those pretty impressive wind gusts of 50 to 60 miles an hour exiting the state of Ohio, entering the state of Pennsylvania. We did have heavy rain in the Youngstown area just recently, but that has since moved out in the last few minutes. The places with the heaviest rain right now: Vienna, Sharon, Hermitage, West Middlesex, and that'll keep moving on east. Lackawanna, East Lackawanna, those towns and communities and townships going to be likely under the gun. Mercer as well, probably by about 4:25, 4:30 time frame. And it's those areas too that haven't seen any rain showers or thunderstorms. We had that first wave move through, but it really dissipated along the state line. So this is some untapped warmth, untapped moisture that we've had, where it could really make an impact in the next few minutes. Let's go back to our velocity data here. Once again, kind of zeroing in on Sharon. I'm going to get rid of these guys once again and save this so I don't have to keep doing this. You know what? We are getting closer to the Pittsburgh radar here, so I am going to go right back here. Thank you, by the way, for everybody who is sharing photos to us. Weather pics at WFMJ.com. That is the way to show you. Looks like our velocity is not working right now from the Pittsburgh radar, so we're going to have to rely on the Cleveland radar. But weather pics at WFMJ.com. If you have any photos of heavy rain, thunder, lightning, maybe some flooding that's going on, that would be a great place to share. Let's show you what the winds are. This is just north of Interstate 80 along West Middlesex. Right around here. 55 miles an hour. Remember, that severe wind gust, 58 miles an hour. And if you don't know the difference between what we call severe thunderstorms and strong thunderstorms, there is a criteria for this. We need hail to be at least an inch or greater for there to be severe weather. But this is something that we've had a decent amount of today. 58 plus mile an hour wind gusts for a severe thunderstorm. Of course, a tornado also, we need that. But the ingredients are very, they're non-favorable for tornadoes. Thankfully, this has just been a severe weather threat. But of course, wind is still wind. Strong winds are nothing to scoff at in this case. So as we look live again on our radar, our attention now is going to be mainly focused in Pennsylvania. The strongest and severe thunderstorms finally moving out of Trumbull County. Most of that warning we're getting to 414, so let's go back to our, sorry, I'm just flying through radars right here. Let's go back to our radar with the warnings over here. As you can see, we are 1 minute away from cancellation of this severe thunderstorm warning, and I think the NWS office in Cleveland is going to do just that. We are turning our attention now into Mercer County, where a plume of moderate to heavy rain is starting to move in and really starting to bear its eyes down on the I-79 corridor, even the U.S. Route 19 corridor heading down towards Pittsburgh. So those folks in Mercer right now, probably going to see that in the next 10 minutes or so. Grove City, probably about 4:30, 4:35 if this structure does continue to hold. Sandy Lake, likely by the time this warning does end up expiring around 4:40, 4:45. Moderate to heavy rain right now. Sharon, Hermitage, South Pymatuning, those communities that I've talked about as of recent, still seeing it. And if we talk precipitation rate, it is going to be pretty high. I mean, these yellows, nothing to scoff at either. If I query these guys, let's see where we're sitting. In between South Pymatuning and Sharon, about 3.5 inches over here. And it's those kind of things. If you have this rain for 15, 20 minutes, you'll be able to get a quick inch of rainfall. And with what we're seeing on the radar, This is what we're really zeroing in on. This rain is slower moving. It's only moving at about 40 miles per hour. And you can see this rain started at 4:01. It's 4:15, and we're still not out of the woods in those areas. So those places right along the state line in Mercer County could be seeing some pretty impressive rainfall totals in the next few minutes. Not to mention we do also have just light rain on the back end of all of this. Let me gloss over that without the warning being shown. Still, Columbiana County, and then really anywhere along my circle right here. That's where non-severe weather, just some light rain showers are moving through. And this is going to be the best case scenario. If you are not a fan of severe weather, this rain is going to act to cool the atmosphere. Our temperatures that started in the 80s are now going to be down around 70, 65 degrees. And if you have cooler air, that means less ingredients for thunderstorms, therefore less of a chance. So I think our thunderstorm chance going into the rest of the day today is going to be much subdued. The event that we're having right now is going to be the highest profile event of the day today. 4:45, that is 30 minutes away. That is when this severe thunderstorm warning does come to an end in Mercer County. Let's see what some of our folks in our chat are describing to us. Thanks everybody for watching. Still folks describing some light rain, heavy rain, high winds. Thanks Bill for your report from Hubbard. Sherry, thanks in Greenville. You're starting to see the hotspot of all of this impacting folks in Mercer County, where the warning is still active until 4:45. Let's see what the satellite looks behind this. Because when I got live here at about 2 or 3 o'clock, we did have a good deal of sunshine in Mercer, Lawrence counties, but now everybody under a thick deck of clouds, but then partly cloudy skies have kind of developed behind. So we could maybe end the day with some partly cloudy skies, but I just don't think we'll have enough energy to kind of allow the atmosphere to recuperate and bring down some severe weather or severe thunderstorms. But I think thunderstorms are certainly possible for a lot of us. Let's go back to our radar here. We do obviously are talking about the warning a good deal. Let's move off to our west and see this little cell that is getting into Stark County, I believe. This is Alliance starting to move into, so this we'll pay attention to. Roughly along the same path as that other discrete cell that we've been tracking as of recent, but this should make its mark in Mahoning County. This does include a little bit of thunder with this. So something we'll certainly keep on the back of our minds. But apart from that, all of our sights are set on what's going to occur in Mercer County with that severe thunderstorm warning until 4:45. Been live here for about 2 hours, so this is a pretty long duration severe weather threat, at least for our 5-county viewing area. If we go back to our velocity data, thanks to the Cleveland radar source, now these thunderstorm winds are starting to get a little more high profile. Look at what we're seeing here. I'm going to pause this here, just north of Lackawanna Township. I'll go right where that little teeny bit of orange is. And that wind of 66 miles an hour, the velocity, showing very impressive winds. That is above our severe threshold. And this is likely because it's feeding off of now a warmer environment. Our temperatures were in the 70s and 80s at this point. So I do think the dynamics of this thunderstorm can certainly continue to develop in the next few minutes. Look at how it's developed. Those pinks have really started to blossom, according to the radar. We're starting to get on the edge of the Cleveland radar capability, so it doesn't look like the Pittsburgh radar is doing much help either.
Are you having trouble with Pittsburgh?
Yeah, Pittsburgh's not working on my end, Rachel.
It's working for me.
Huh. Okay.
Where do you need it?
Just over there. Let me know if you get any interesting readings from there. Okay.
I'm not seeing anything that grabs my eye right off the tip. However,
All right, let's, not...
seeing around 20 to
Okay. Yeah, not looking too crazy over there, at least according to Pittsburgh's radar. But something we'll still track for sure. We're at 4:20 now on your Saturday afternoon. Also, a lobe of showers and thunderstorms starting to develop along Lawrence County, kind of paralleling what we were seeing in Mercer County. So if you're watching us from Newcastle, good afternoon, and you could be seeing some showers, thunderstorms in the next few minutes. New Wilmington too, kind of under the gun for those moderate to heavier showers, thunderstorms. Everybody else in Lawrence, rather dry. Those folks in Elwood City looking good. Slippery Rock right along the border of Lawrence and Butler County. They're looking good, but they've been able to warm up a little bit. Our temperatures are still in the 80s in those areas, but it's just this pretty impressive line. It has looked to gotten a little bit of its structure back. It would look very disorganized as it moved through Trumbull County, but now as it's into Mercer County, we're starting to see that linear action a little bit. The bowing of the storm, as you can see from this label right here. NWS in Pittsburgh also trimming the warning a little bit, so they are highlighting that folks right along the Ohio state line in Sharon, West Middlesex, South Pymatooning, they are not under an immediate severe weather threat right now. If we go back over to Columbiana County and really Stark County, we're still keeping tabs on this guy, this little discrete cell as it moves northeastward. I want to get another look at what our precipitation has been. Now we're starting to get a more broad view of what our rainfall totals are across our area. Lots of rain falling in Trumbull County, and you can see, yeah, this contour has updated in Trumbull County. Give it just a moment to be able to move, but Trumbull County, this is some impressive rain totals in just about 2 hours. 1.56 in northwestern Trumbull. Champion Heights 1.38, and if you're Niles, yeah, 1.45, and near a inch and a half, an inch and 45 hundredths over there. But these rain totals going to be updated soon, as we're starting to see a little bit more of that rain in the Youngstown area, moving on further east into Lawrence County, as those folks starting to see just a little bit. But once we get to the end of the day, once we get to the end of this severe weather threat, this will be something that will be very interesting to watch, and how much rain we eventually get. The airport, I'm sure, has gotten a boatload of rain. Rachel, if you could check how much rainfall the airport has gotten, I would appreciate that. Still some moderate to heavy rain moving through Mercer County. The sole severe thunderstorm warning in the area.
The 1 hour precip total is almost 4 tenths of an inch.
Okay, 4/10 of an inch. All right, so not crazy high at the airport, but we'll see if they get any more added to it with folks in Trumbull and Mahoning counties just getting a little bit of light rain on the back end of this. But the heaviest rain right now moving through Mercer County. Those folks along I-79, if you're traveling I-79 right now, wherever you are in Mercer County, really north of Grove City, you are about to get slammed with some moderate, heavy rain showers, thunderstorms, and even some gusty winds. At least the potential is there. Further on to our south again, rainfall starting to move into Lawrence County, and this is starting to come together, starting to coagulate, you could say, with the cell and the linear cell in Mercer County. So this structure is improved just a little bit as it gets into Newcastle and points eastward. This photo, thank you, Rachel, for putting this in. This photo of in Sharpsville of heavy rainfall, thanks to Christian for all of the stuff over here. It's scenes like this. We saw this on our Niles camera about 20-30 minutes ago of all the rainfall that people were having to drive through. But folks, really in Trumbull, Mercer now, And Mahoning counties in the past had to deal with a good deal of rainfall in the last few minutes. As we go back, let's just do rapid fire and see if anything else is happening. We got hail. We'll see if there's any hail moving through. By the way, if you don't know what hail is, if you're not sure how it happens, I just released a Weather 101 on the dynamics of hail about a couple of weeks ago. And if you are watching Weather 101, kind of our digital branch of the weather team here at WFMJ, you can access that in a variety of ways. WFMJ website, WFMJ app. You can take a look at it on any of our social medias. Mine, Rachel's, we two are the two kind of head lead people on Weather 101, where we talk about anything relating to the weather. Yesterday, I just did a look on why the 1930s were such a hot decade. Something that is kind of out of left field, but very interesting on how different atmospheric currents and different things can change how our weather is, and it also has to do with drought and whatnot. But Weather 101 is certainly a very interesting thing that you can check out, and if you have any questions about what goes on in the weather realm, chances are it has been answered on Weather 101. So you can check that out on the WFMJ website, WFMJ app, any of the social medias you see right on the bottom of your screen here. Gavin Sandell WX on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and meteorologist Gavin Sandell on Facebook. The Storm Tracker 21 page, of course, on Facebook, and meteorologist Rachel Lanham on Facebook. We've detailed different severe weather events. In addition, if you want to know more about the July 5th macro burst and tornado, that is on Weather 101 that you can access there. The July 21st tornado, I believe that was the 21st. You can check that out on the Weather 101 page. But still, I don't want to digress too much. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning, some pretty heavy rain moving through Mercer County. Starting to get into the I-79 corridor right now, but still heavy rain in the places that I've been talking about. Lackawanna townships, West Middlesex townships, starting to now get into Mercer townships. Even folks in Grove City should be keeping their eyes peeled in the next 10 minutes. Get that storm tracker radar handy. And Sandy Lake, too, in the next 20 or so minutes, or the next 10 or so minutes. And they're starting to see some impressive rainfall, again, as well with these damaging wind potential. I don't think hail is going to be the biggest concern here. I think damaging winds with gusts of 58 plus miles an hour is going to be something that we'll have to keep watching. Also, as that line has sort of merged southward, lots of northern Lawrence County also starting to see some rain showers. Newcastle, places north, Neshannock, New Wilmington, Hickory. Some heavier rain showers, and those will move over to the north and east in the next few minutes. So if you're an interest in Grove City, you could be seeing rain from both directions there as that moves. The cell that I have highlighted right now moves to the north and east, and then this cell moves kind of due east, maybe slightly east-northeast. But everybody else in Ohio, really anywhere along the state line, well, I'll be watching this cell as it moves into Columbiana County, but anybody else, they're all clear from severe for the immediate term. It's just this one cell that I'm going to keep my eye on as it moves into Mahoning County. That's kind of the only fly in the ointment right now, but I'm not seeing too much from that. Let's see what the velocity data. When in doubt, let's check out velocity. And nothing too crazy. It'll probably have winds of 30 or so miles an hour, but if we go, let's see, this Pittsburgh velocity has been a little tricky. If we just go to here, there we go. That will work. Yeah, nothing too impressive here, but the velocity, we could be seeing wind gusts in this severe thunderstorm warning of about 40, 50, maybe even 60 miles an hour at that. So 4:45 is when it expires. We've got 15 minutes until this happens. If we want to look around what could happen in the future, we'll have to look over to the west. And again, we do have one severe thunderstorm warning to our west, just west of Cleveland near Lorain County. But again, this is an area where I'm highlighting right now where our temperatures are much higher. Our thermometers are in the 70s to 80s compared to our area where our temperatures are in the 60s, low 70s at that. So it's a much more favorable environment where I have it circled for thunderstorms to kind of redevelop. I think the best case scenario in our area towards the end of the day, we could maybe recover our temperatures into the 70s at the best. Maybe some thunderstorm activity, but I do not think that severe weather is going to be on the table. That is my best guess. But still, as we talk about this at 4:31, we do have that severe thunderstorm warning in progress in Mercer County. At its height, we've had severe weather. We've had 4 severe thunderstorm warnings at once, but it has since kind of eased off just a little bit. This is the only warning that we have to take a little bit of care about. You can see the bowing of this storm moving on and kind of looking like a bow and arrow. There's my best illustration of a bow and arrow as it moves out to Mercer County. But those folks along the I-79 corridor, those folks not enjoying their drive. But the National Weather Service has just issued another severe thunderstorm warning. This does include portions of Mercer County. This is kind of an overlap of the warning that we are seeing. But this is going to go until 5:15 p.m. So the current one that we're seeing, 4:45, is its expiration. The new one that's on tap, 5:15, is its expiration. So National Weather Service, because this has entered a much more favorable environment where we haven't had rain at all, our temperatures have been in the 70s and 80s, they're going to go ahead and issue another warning for some of Mercer County, but it's mainly covered by the current warning. But the majority of the warning is in for Venango County, just a northern sliver of Butler County, and then a little bit of Clarion County. That's when you start to get into west central Pennsylvania. In addition, we're starting to see the combination of these thunderstorms into Lawrence County, which are starting to look a little bit stronger, but I don't think they're looking too crazy as of right now. There's no special weather statements or anything like that out at the moment. Off to the west, if you're watching from Ohio, first of all, thank you for watching this. Your severe weather threat is pretty subdued for right now. At the moment, you're not seeing too much. Just light rain showers starting to exit the area. Just one teeny tiny cell, which even then the reds has kind of been a little bit subdued. Now more towards the yellows as we get into the Sebring area, far western Mahoning County. This guy is taking a northeasterly track over. Probably going to miss Youngstown to the west, but maybe folks such as in North Jackson, Austintown, going up into Mineral Ridge, and Weathersfield Townships up in Trumbull County. They could be seeing a little bit more activity from this cell, but we'll track this in the next few minutes. Just the heaviest rain right now, thunderstorms in Pennsylvania, where those cells and thunderstorms have been combining just a little bit, signaling that there could be a little bit of a stronger pull from this as it's entered some untapped territory. It is discovering heat and humidity. As we say this too, the NWS trimming again the warning in Mercer County. So now really only the eastern half of Mercer County is in this warning. This only means that anybody who is right along where I'm circling, the severe threat is done for the immediate term. Just some heavy rain showers with some thunder. Apart from that, the severe weather or the severe weather threat is moving off to the east-northeast. Let's see, let's time this out for folks who are in that area. So this is moving, the current warning says this is moving at 40 miles an hour. But let's see what the new warning says. We're going to be moving east at 45 miles an hour. So for anybody who is watching in Mercer County, even anybody in Venango County or Butler County, let's give you a timing on this. Because this cell is moving east at 45 miles an hour. It's got some legs now. Getting a little bit quicker. Moving just north of due east. And you can see, again, the majority of the rain moving out of the viewing area. But still, Oil City, out in Venango County, probably by about 5 o'clock. Clarion in Clarion County, the namesake, 5:30, probably by the back half of the 5 o'clock hour. So once this cell starts to move a little further out, I think that this will be something that the National Weather Service will have to deal with, but not something that will be immediately in our concern. Let's also look at these rain showers. That's moving a little bit more northeast, which could give a little bit more of a hit to some folks in Mercer County. Volant in the near term, next minute or two. Grove City, likely probably by the end of the hour. But after that, after these cells move out, I think it's going to be kind of all wraps for severe weather. Still, though, the activity chugging along to our west, but these are non-severe thunderstorms as it stands. I want to look at what the satellite looks like to our west, because these thunderstorms are battling some dry, some cloudy weather off to the east. This pocket right here is where any of those thunderstorms are blossoming, and you can see this persistent cloud deck, and now all 5 of our counties is keeping those temperatures down. If we look at our temperatures, we are talking about a major gradient. Those 60s that were widespread in Trumbull County were faced off with 70s and 80s across some of the other portions of our viewing area. But even as we look at our neighborhood net, our Tempest weather flow weather stations, mid-60s. It's all you're going to get in Trumbull County. But off to our west, this is where things are a little bit warmer, even in Stark County and Portage County. So with temperatures in the 70s there, showers and thunderstorms will be a little bit more keen on developing there. But it's the environment that we've gotten ourselves into now that has become much less conducive for showers and thunderstorms. However, look at the environment that these thunderstorms are moving into now. These deeper oranges of mid to upper 70s, potentially even some 80s. That is kind of the concern that I have for those folks in Venango, Butler, Clarion counties. This thunderstorm could maybe develop and get a little bit of legs, but that'll finally be out of our viewing area. So we are 8 minutes away from this initial severe thunderstorm warning from coming to a conclusion, but we still have about 40 minutes until this secondary severe thunderstorm warning, just east of, just barely clipping the eastern bits of Mercer County, and then the majority outside of our viewing area. That expires at 5:15. At that point, once the severe weather threat finally exits, I'm going to end this stream. But right now, I'm going to stick around. Meteorologist Rachel Landon, if you haven't heard from her much, that's because she is hard at work doing her job. She is prepping for the 6 o'clock news with this ever-changing severe weather threat. Thankfully, the main threat now out of our area, or out of at least the Youngstown area, still, though, have to deal with what's going on in Mercer County. By the time we get to the 6 o'clock hour, all of this will likely come to an end. In the near term, though, again, just keeping tabs on this disorganized cluster of showers and thunderstorms moving into Mahoning County, the Sebring area, Alliance area. Looks like it's broadened a little bit, maybe lost its most potent legs, but not seeing too much out of this. But some folks might get a couple more showers in the next few minutes in Lake Milton, North Jackson, maybe some of Austintown, before it ventures into Trumbull County over there. But of course, these thunderstorms, and even in Lawrence County too, you know, Lawrence County is not under this severe thunderstorm warning. However, you're seeing Newcastle and into more of a lesser populated area of Lawrence, some moderate to strong rain with some thunder included in that. Let's go to precipitation rate, too. I want to take a look at what we're seeing with the rate, because these guys are probably picking up, these oranges here. Near the Newcastle area, Lebanon, probably about 3-4 inches per hour. But, of course, these are not going to be around for an hour, but could be a quick inch or so in the next 20 minutes. Thankfully, we haven't heard, except for that sole report in Austintown, of any major flash flooding. And I bet that, now that the rain is kind of simmering down in Austintown and the rest of Mahoning County, I think that flash flooding threat is largely gone by the wayside. But it's just now the heaviest rain getting into Mercer County and then northern Lawrence County. That I will be kind of keeping tabs on. Also hail. I doubt that this will be that big of an influence. Actually, I'm incorrect. Wow. There's a decent bit of large hail near the Sandy Lake area. This is going to move over to the east. That is just about to exit, I believe, Mercer County. Just barely. But that little sliver of orange does mean that the hail size is about an inch or so. So that means that the hail could pack a little bit of a punch. So that is one reason that the National Weather Service in Pittsburgh has warned this storm with some hail, but also the main concern is some winds in northeastern Mercer County, also going into eastern Mercer. These cells kind of coming together. The initial warning expiring in 4 minutes, but we also did have a secondary warning for most of the territory, but also a little bit more to the north in northeastern Mercer County and some territory to the east. Venango County, Butler County, Clarion County. That comes to an end at 5:15 this afternoon. Yeah, what's up, Rachel?
Can you look at that photograph?
Yes.
Does that look like Scud to you?
Yeah, I would say so, probably. Who sent that in?
Gavin.
Oh, he's great. He's great. Gavin, if you're watching, thank you.
He sent that in. However, he thought that it was a funnel. However, it about 2 minutes later it was gone, which is what made me think that's more than likely just some scary, ugly clouds.
Yeah. If you could just save that, and I'll throw that up for our viewers. That is not the picture that we are looking at, unfortunately. Sorry.
I'm trying to...
No, that's all good, all good. I'll show you guys the picture in question in just a little bit, but one of our frequent flyers and our photo submitters, Gavin C., he's a great drone photographer, sends us a lot of stuff. He did capture a little bit of a cloud starting to move a little bit further down. You could categorize that maybe a little bit as a funnel cloud at Mosquito Lake. So this is north in Trumbull County. That's what it looked like, but I don't think this is anything more. We obviously don't know the look at that further down, so obviously you can't really say anything more than just a little bit of scud or just a little bit of a cloud there. But thank you for sending that in. Very, very good for sending that in. Let's just take a look at some of our neighborhoods right now. Youngstown, just some light showers, much less dreary look than it was in the last few minutes. Niles, too, we showed you in the last probably the last hour or so, that we did have a lot of flooded roads. But we have some light showers, even some clearing possible. But that temperature in the 60s, it's pretty stubborn. It's going to take some time to get that back up to any levels that we could see some showers or some severe weather. When it comes to the radar, though, just that severe thunderstorm warning in Mercer County, the heaviest rainfall and the most dense thunder moving on in there. That is going to move on to our east soon. We do have another discrete cell, another lonely cell moving into southwestern Mahoning. So Sebring seeing some impressive rainfall. That is going to move up. So those folks in Ellsworth, Cansfield, maybe Austintown, Weathersfield, McDonald, maybe even Girard, probably going to start to see just another helping of rainfall in the next 10, 15, 20, even 30 minutes. But going for the rest of our area, if you're in eastern Columbiana County, we've been seeing some light rainfall for quite some time. East Palestine, Unity, any place like that. New Middletown has been seeing some places too. Columbiana, just kind of the best case scenario if you don't want severe weather. That's kind of the thing that we want. Or if you don't like severe weather, you guys have kind of been riding the best case scenario. We also do have another severe thunderstorm warning, not in our area, but down further into Beaver County and some of Allegheny County, the northwestern suburbs of Pittsburgh there, near the Pittsburgh International Airport. Cranberry in Butler County too. But that is right near the radar, so it's a little bit tougher to depict what is being seen there. But these showers, thunderstorms, we did have that first severe thunderstorm warning expire in Mercer County because we are now at 5:45. So now This, I could say with a pretty decent confidence, is going to be the last severe thunderstorm warning that we'll have, at least in the next little bit of time, in our area. Eastern Mercer County, Mercer, Grove City, Sandy Lake, New Lebanon. Starting to see some decent rain. And actually, as we speak now, the National Weather Service has trimmed this warning just a little bit. You can see off to the west. It almost looks like somebody took a bite into the warning. So you can see the bowing nature of these thunderstorms. That's the kind of the main area of severe weather that they think that little chunk off is indicative of the National Weather Service saying we don't think severe weather is happening at that time. So much lesser grade rain showers now in western Mercer and western Lawrence. The activity is sort of moving on to the east, though we do still have this severe thunderstorm warning for far, far eastern and southeastern Mahoning. Grove City, one of the larger towns and communities in there. New Lebanon, too. But then you start getting into a very sparsely populated Venango County. Though, if you're heading west on Interstate 80, if you're watching me from I-80, if you're like me, maybe you like to come from State College, Pennsylvania, Du Bois, or Clarion, any places like that, even further east, Hazleton, Pennsylvania, if you're going into our viewing area soon, we are going to see a bit of rain, and your area is under a severe thunderstorm warning. You're going to have to be driving through that rather soon. Let's see when it comes to the winds here. Not a crazy signature here. Although some places near Sugar Creek, out of our viewing area at this point, are probably seeing wind gusts just around sub-severe levels. Let's go back to hail, too. You can't really see it on the radar, but there is a very impressive signature. And just at the edge of the warning here near New Lebanon, just some sub-severe hail, probably about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch in size. That is going to move to the north and east out of our viewing area in the next few minutes into Venango County along the US 322 corridor. But it is now 4:47 on your Saturday afternoon. It has been a marathon of coverage here. We've been talking about severe weather from Trumbull to Mahoning, even to Mercer counties. Those three counties seeing severe thunderstorm warnings are really the county who has been the winner. Not seeing much of severe activity has been Columbiana County. Really, it's just kind of a reverse of what has been playing out as of recent, the last few weeks. If you remember, maybe about a week and a half ago, some heavy flooding in the Hanover area, Salineville area, Kensington Township, but they really have kind of avoided the most of the rain showers. But severe weather was in 2 rounds in Trumbull County, but that has since left the viewing area, or left the Trumbull County area. But then we do still have that severe thunderstorm warning into just far eastern Mercer County, and then most of Venango County in addition. Let's take one more look off to the west. Actually, let's go south first, because this severe weather has started to blossom south of our viewing area. You could see the severe thunderstorm warning in Butler County and Allegheny County, Beaver County, kind of what I just mentioned here a couple of minutes ago. But we also do have one. This looks like a 3-stater. Very interesting. Greene County in Pennsylvania, some of the northern panhandle of West Virginia, and then far southern, I don't believe I know what county that is in Ohio, but right along the I-70 corridor there. A pretty impressive warning there for severe weather. Getting right into the back corner of PA. We also do have a severe thunderstorm warning in Lorain County, near the Vermilion area, getting into the far western suburbs of Cleveland. But that area here is in a much better situation, a much better area to brew up some severe weather. As temperatures a little bit higher, we do have some cells here and there moving through the area, just a little bit, but I think these will be sub-severe as our temperatures are going to be much lower. Remember, lower temperatures means a much more subdued environment, And a much more subdued environment means a lower severe weather chance. For everybody who's been sticking around, thank you so much. Good comment in our Facebook comments right now. Carrie saying this is getting very, very old. Well, listen, thankfully, although we do have to deal with this, and we've had to deal with this a lot this summer, we are getting climatologically to the time where thunderstorms become much less frequent. Look at August and September, the difference there. Really, September and October, once we get past the Canfield Fair time, things turn much calmer. We're before any winter weather, and then the chance for severe weather goes way down. Even thunderstorm activity goes way down. So it has been a very active summer. Believe me, I know better than most people, but trust me, we are going to go down the hump very soon. But in the meantime, we still do have lots to pay attention to, not only to in our viewing area, but also to our south and a little bit over to our west. So right now, severe thunderstorm warning still in effect for Mercer County, though the majority of that severe weather has passed the area. It's finally starting to get into Venango County, some of Crawford County, up to the north. I'd be interested to see if the NWS in Cleveland does anything kind of right on the outskirts of their area. Let's go nationally for a moment so I could show you something. Right here. See all the counties in yellow right now. That means we are under a severe thunderstorm watch. All of our counties right now in our viewing area still under a severe thunderstorm watch, but it'll be interesting to see what the office in Cleveland does with our severe weather threat mainly gone and our temperatures way down into the 60s. I think the environment is going to be much less conducive for any severe weather once we get into the next few hours. So they have a tendency to trim these before these expire. The severe thunderstorm watch for our area expires at 9 p.m. But they do have a tendency to say, all right, if the threat is subdued, we're going to trim this. So we'll see. And but of course, we need to watch what's happening over to our west. Also need to be watching the visible satellite to see how much cloudy skies progress into our area and how much clear skies progress into our area. But do I think there's going to be an encore of what we saw in the last few hours? Absolutely not. This was kind of the belle of the ball. Everything was happening, and but with our temperatures much subdued, I think that things are getting much calmer into the next few hours. When you watch Rachel Lanham, meteorologist Rachel Lanham, at 6 and 11 tonight, I think the severe weather threat is going to be much lower. Of course, I'll give you another shameless plug to please follow us on social media for any potential other impacts that could happen if severe weather does end up happening, and what we could be seeing tomorrow in our viewing area. Maybe some lighter rain showers and a Panerathon forecast. All of us, including myself, are going to be at Panerathon tomorrow. WFMJ Weekend Today will be live in Youngstown with Nicole Capalco and Kellen Fliss. They'll both be there having some fun at Panerathon, and it's always a great time of year, always a great way to remember the reason why they do it. For all of the breast cancer awareness that goes on with that. So, as I look live once again at my storm tracker radar, everything looks to be getting a little bit calmer in the Youngstown area, at least. That rain starting to push off. I think that one little teeny tiny cell finally starting to know its place and get a little bit less structure there. Everybody else, just seeing some light rain showers. Northeastern Trumbull County, western Mercer, western Lawrence. Just the strongest thunderstorms right now that aren't severe is in northern Lawrence County. And then brief bits in Mercer County until you get into the warning. I think in the next few minutes, the National Weather Service on Pittsburgh is going to trim this warning, and I think my time here is going to come to a conclusion. But we look over to the west and see just a little bit of activity going on right now. A very waterlogged south. That's why we have flash flood warnings near the New Philadelphia area. But here at least, this was a decent helping of rain. Lots of places north of Youngstown have not had rainfall up to average. Trumbull County, Mercer County, they've been below average, but of course folks in Columbiana County have seen almost 8 inches through the month of August. So kind of a reverse of what the trend has been this month, which has been very good, very good. We love to see that. The places that need to get up are getting up. The places that don't need to see any more rainfall, not seeing any of that rainfall or severe weather, at least in the near term. Now 4:55 on your Saturday afternoon. We are 20 minutes from this severe thunderstorm warning expiring here. Structure hasn't really made too much of a notable change. Kind of still looks like you can see the bowing of that. Kind of looking like the frame of a bow and arrow here as it moves through Venango County. The heaviest rain finally starting to exit. Mercer County, just a little lobe of showers and thunderstorms that could pack a punch. Maybe some stronger thunderstorms that'll start to sneak into Grove City, New Wilmington, Mercer. But that'll probably be about it for the time being. Yet again, we do have that small cell that looked much more threatening when it moved into Mahoning County. But of course, because we are in a very subdued environment, our temperatures are lower. I think this is going to be the trend that we'll see. Might have a couple of scattered showers here and there moving into our viewing area, but because we're so cool, I think that our area is kind of an inhospitable zone for these thunderstorms to develop in the time being. But to our west, where the temperatures have recovered a little bit, we do see those severe thunderstorm warnings in effect, and flash flood warnings too, for Tuscarawas County and a little bit off to the west. But in the meantime, still tracking this guy. Let's take a look at our Tempest, or our neighborhood net, our network of Tempest weather flow weather stations. As this has finally moved off to the east. Look at these impressive rainfall totals. Columbiana County, again, not seeing too much, but places near 2 inches in northwestern Mahoning and western Trumbull. A pretty impressive gradient gap over by about roughly the Austintown, Canfield Township lines, and then the Youngstown as well. But this is going to update once we get into Mercer County. Some folks there are already seeing over an inch. So some good drenching rains, something that we've needed in Trumbull County, in Mercer County, and then the places that haven't needed it in Columbiana County. Yeah, this is your kind of time. This is we've been dry, and it's been a time where we've needed to be dry because of all of that rainfall in the last few weeks. Over 8 inches, or almost 8 inches, in Hanover and Kensington townships in southwestern Columbiana counties. But is the storm tracker radar? Let's go back to the warnings. It looks like they trimmed it again, I believe. Maybe not. I think this is trimmed again, but our county still in the warning area, so I'll probably be on here for another couple of minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to get a drink of water as we approach 5 o'clock. Let me just give a couple more plugs. The big thing, if there's any damage that you saw in your area, any cool thunder, any cool lightning, clouds, flooding, hail, please be sure to send them in to weatherpicks@wfmj.com, as they are great resources for us to kind of survey the damage and let you know kind of what we're expecting across our area. Also, please make sure to follow us on social media. That's going to be the big thing too. You can follow me at Gavin Sandell WX on Instagram, Twitter, or X, YouTube, and you can also follow me at Meteorologist Gavin Sandell on Facebook. Rachel Lanham is behind me, our weekend evening meteorologist. She is getting everything ready. She is on the grind to get ready for the 6 o'clock news tonight, recapping this severe weather. You can follow her on Facebook at Weekend Meteorologist Rachel Lanham, and she's got other platforms too. Rach Land WX on Instagram, and Meteorologist Rachel Lanham, I believe, you can correct me if I'm wrong, on YouTube. And TikTok too. What's your TikTok handle?
Same thing as everything else. All of my handles
There you go. Straight from the horse's mouth, Rachel Ann WX. And meteorologist Andrew DiPaolo, who is our noon and 5 p.m. meteorologist on weekdays. You could follow him. Our chief meteorologist, Eric Wilhelm. And our newest weather forecaster, Kellen Fliss, our weekend morning weekend morning weather anchor, who does a fantastic job. So I think I'm going to go ahead and end this coverage now, as the bulk of this severe weather is finally moving out of the area. I started this live stream about 2 o'clock or so. It is now 5:01, so wow, we have done our due diligence and we have had our fair share of severe weather. But right now, in the near term, the next few minutes, just again some heavy rainfall, good chunk of thunder lightning moving through through Mercer County, and then a little bit of Lawrence County. Those folks who haven't gotten too much in southern Lawrence, most of Columbiana, maybe a sliver of Mahoning County near the New Middletown area, but places who have gotten multiple rounds of severe weather include Trumbull County, and then, remember, we had that pretty big hail core near Austintown. Some flooding reported there as well. So our fair share of severe weather, thankfully no tornadoes, although we do have an active tornado warning near the Cleveland area. But that'll be something that our weekend evening meteorologist, Rachel Ann, will track. Be sure to tune in tonight on 21 News at 6 and 21 News at 11 for the latest updates for what's happening right now, and then make sure to follow us all on social media and the Storm Tracker 21 page on Facebook and the rest of the social media tracked as well. But I want to thank you guys for tuning in. For the few straggler people that are still on, thanks for tuning in and staying with us. But for now, I'm going to end this live stream at the 3-hour mark.